Hours easing today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Jess Adamson.
Physio Extra for Locomat robotic technology treating stroke, cerebral palsy, brain and spinal cord injuries. Visit physioextra.com.
Court today for a man accused of a motorcycle jacking in the northern suburbs. Mel Usher has the details.
A man was arrested yesterday after a motorcycle was stolen during a robbery at Elizabeth Vale. Police were called to John Rice Avenue following reports a man had his red Honda stolen by two men who approached him on another motorcycle. The two suspects rode away on the two bikes. Police located the stolen motorcycle abandoned near a creek bed. A 23-year-old Elizabeth Vale man was charged with aggravated robbery and riding unlicensed. He was refused police bail and will appear in court today. Investigations are continuing.
A 23-year-old Paralawi man will face court today, charged over a robbery at an Edwardstown bottle shop. Police were called to the Castle Plaza shopping centre at 4 yesterday afternoon after reports a man had stolen a carton of beer. It's alleged he threatened staff with a knife before running from the scene. The suspect was found at a house nearby an hour later. He's been charged with aggravated robbery. The Prime Minister has arrived in Tonga for the Pacific Islands Forum. The three-day meeting will focus on security, climate change, health and education. The US and China will sit on the sidelines of the meeting. Anthony Albanese says Australia has a seat at the table, given we're a major part of the Pacific region.
We're part of the Pacific family, and over the next couple of days we'll be talking about our common interests, how we work together to combat climate change, for economic development and for peace and security in our region.
The Greens will demand higher corporate taxes in return for supporting Labor in a hung parliament. Opinion polls are showing a minority government is possible after the next election. Labor would need the support of the Greens or independents to govern. The Greens say its support would be contingent on a 40% tax on businesses making excessive profits and the money used to fund cost of living measures. More than $1 million is being handed to researchers to help advance outcomes for cancer patients. The money will support work in priority areas like chemotherapy and treatments for children. Cancer Australia Medical Director Vivian Milch says it will be given to two leading medical professors in Sydney.
Associate Professor Susanna Park's research at the University of Sydney will help predict nerve damage from chemotherapy. And the second grant is for Professor David Ziegler's project at Sydney Children's Hospital, which is focusing on improving treatment delivery for children with brain tumours.
The Israeli military has rescued a hostage from the South Gaza Strip who spent more than 10 months in an underground tunnel. The 52-year-old was kidnapped by Hamas during its attack on Israel in October. The Israeli Defence Force says it's been a complex rescue operation. Two people have been killed during a maintenance check of a Boeing plane in Atlanta, Georgia. US correspondent Alison Petrowski reports.
A tyre was being removed from the Delta Boeing 757-200 aircraft during scheduled maintenance when it exploded, killing two staff members and seriously injuring a third. Delta has issued a statement saying the Delta family is heartbroken at the loss and grateful for the quick action of first responders and medical teams on site. The plane had last travelled from Las Vegas to Atlanta on Sunday evening. It's not clear what caused the explosion. The airline says it is working with local authorities and a full investigation will be conducted.
Now to FIVEAA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Jess. South Aussie Thanasi Kokonakis has pulled off a huge upset in the first round of the US Open. The unseeded Australian beat 11th seed Stefanos Tsitsipas in 4 sets.
Had a 5-set battle with him a couple of years ago in Australian Open, and I was expecting a war. It was physical out there. I have a tendency to sometimes drag these matches on and have some really long battles, but just tried to stay focused, stay the course.
Yeah, incredible result. Fellow Aussies Tristan Schoolkate and Jordan Thompson also had wins. Alex de Minaur, meantime, has won the first set over American Marcus Giron 6-3. Let's get to football, and Port Adelaide has been dealt a major blow with defender Kane Farrell ruled out for the rest of the year with a high-grade hamstring injury. It comes off the back of Dan Houston also being unavailable for the rest of the year because of suspension. Meantime, a blow for Carlton ahead of the final series, with forward Matt Owies failing in his bid to overturn a one-match suspension for a dangerous tackle. That means he'll miss the elimination final against Brisbane. Still on footy, Hawthorn coach Sam Mitchell is crediting the players for turning the club's season around. The Hawks lost their first 5 games of the season but will return to finals against the Bulldogs in September. Mitchell telling Wide World of Sports players knew they simply weren't playing well enough.
I think the credit actually goes to the players well and truly around that, because we've been talking for a long time about driving your own standards and not relying on the coaches to push the standards. And I think Dylan Moore did a press conference, said, we need to train harder and bring our mouth guards and drive it ourselves.
Yeah, they've been impressive. That is the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now the 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
17 with a shower or two easing today. Partly cloudy and 23 tomorrow. Showers, windy and 18 for Friday. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
At CMAX Clinical Research, we're on a mission to revolutionise healthcare. By participating in a clinical trial, you can help pave the way for a potential treatment for primary biliary cholangitis. If you're aged 18 to 65 and generally healthy, you could be eligible for this CMAX study. Upon your successful participation, you'll be paid for your time and commitment to help advance medical research. See if you're eligible today. Log on to cmax.com.au and look for the PBC study to find out more.
Join Gliderol in celebrating the Colorbond Steal the Show promotion. By purchasing a roller door or sectional door made from Colorbond steel from Gliderol, now or within the last 12 months, you could win $100,000. Visit gliderol.com.au today for a free measure and quote. Retail customers only, T's and C's apply. See colorbond.com/steal the show, 18 plus only. Strict purchase and eligibility criteria apply. Ends 30/11/24.
The Adelaide Guitar Festival returns this September, running from the 12th to the 29th at Adelaide Festival Centre. Join the biggest gathering of guitar heads in the Southern Hemisphere and experience a diverse range of genres to suit all tastes, including classical, blues, jazz, rock and roll and more.
Rock out with performances from the Rolling Stones Review. Oh, wow, this is good. This bloke's been here before. He's excellent. Flamenco legend Paco Peña, as well as classical recitals, jazz visionaries and everything in between.
There's also free guitar expo and festival talks, as well as the return of guitars in bars. If the guitar is part of who you are, make sure you visit the Adelaide Guitar Festival. For the full program, head to adelaideguitarfestival.com.au.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Artificial intelligence is the next big game changer, and it's at the heart of Microsoft's latest suite of Surface products. Microsoft's AI called Copilot Plus will help navigate your tasks. It doesn't just make things easier or predict what's next. It can truly transform your daily life. It handles the little things so you can focus on what really matters. The Surface laptops feature a touchscreen, ample memory.
Adelaide wakes up with 5AA, David Penberthy and Will Goodings, Tom Wren for sport, Jade Robran on the scene as it happens, Graham Goodings and Jess Adamson with the news that matters to Adelaide. Breakfast with David and Will, bringing together the names you trust with everything you need to know to start your day. Always live, always local and only on 5AA. Always Adelaide. Always Adelaide. This is 5AA.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across My 24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
10 minutes after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast, the 28th of August. Going to talk a bit about petrol prices this morning. Jade Robran will be out on the road for us. They're at about a year low right now. It's a good time to fill up. The RAA's made some pretty exciting noises about this as well. They're suggesting it might go down even more. We'll talk about why that is, and Jade will update us on some hot spots over the course of the first hour this morning. So if you've woken up with an empty tank, it's not a bad day to do it. Also, Touch of Etiquette returns. Lucy's back on deck this week, so we've got a Touch of Etiquette coming up after 6:30. We'll try and solve a moral quandary. And then a little bit later in the morning, Sean Fuster. We'll go around the courts with Sean. We have got Koshy on today. He's going to be in the studio. He's here in Adelaide. Lots to talk about. I'm guessing this will be one of the days he wants the entire conversation to be about footy. And then in and around all that, we've got Royal Show tickets. We've got the $100 Charlesworth hamper as well. It's going to be a fun morning. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. I'm not entirely sure why Koshy's come to town. Maybe just thought he'd just come all the way over from Sydney so he could really rub our faces in it face to face.
Yeah, it could be.
Or maybe today's going to be the IGM, the inaugural general meeting of the Hands Across South Australia Crows and Port Kumbaya Society that he unveiled on the program last week. You know, as Rodney King said, can't we all just get along?
Maybe they're going to install, you know, like during the Cold War, the White House and the Oval Office had the one phone, and it made it, and the Kremlin had the one red phone. And if things escalated and ever got tense, you could pick up the phone, and Kennedy and
sort of Khrushchev
could get a direct line to one another. Maybe that's what it's going to be. Olsen and Koch will have a little phone under a glass lid that if things ever get a little hairy, they can pick it up and have a chat.
There's a lot of Cold War analogies that work.
Yes.
Mutually assured distractions, another one.
Yep, that works.
But yeah, no, I think all the distraction on the Crow side has been of the self variety of the last couple of weeks, and Port are sitting pretty, more on their, I think, seemingly inexorable in the very first instance march to glory, at least march to another prelim.
Yeah, well,
Can't see them losing Thursday week.
It's all out there now, isn't it?
Hey, what about Oasis? It's true, they're actually coming back. This is for people of a certain generation.
My generation.
Yeah. Although you know the current British Top 100 has Oasis songs in it. They still sell to this day. They're still in the top 100.
So the songs that chart on the basis of...
I think that What's the Story, Morning Glory is still in the top 100 in Britain today.
That's unbelievable.
So kids like my daughter's generation go, oh yeah, I like that band. Yeah.
Oasis was for mine the sort of the first band I remember everyone being obsessed with. Like there were the real rockhead kids that generally had older brothers and sisters that were into Nirvana.
Yeah.
Like they were the real cool ones. But the kind of first mainstream thing that everyone was into was Oasis. Absolutely everybody loved it.
So 1994-5, 30 years ago, you were in your late teens.
No, I wasn't even a teenager yet. I was 12, I think.
Were you?
Yeah.
Oh, but you're at school, so when
like
Oasis came out, you were at school.
Yeah, you're going to high school.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Because if you sort of think about that period, like the three big bands at the time, probably in terms of mass followings, and very different, Nirvana, Oasis, and the Spice Girls, you'd have to say. Because they were massive.
Yeah, yep.
And, you know, girls, to this day, it's quite funny because the school quiz night that we went to on Saturday night, the theme was 90s, which is why I dressed as Slash and Kate dressed as Axl from Guns N' Roses. But there were a lot of Knowles and Liams walking around, a lot of Spice Girls as well, a lot of Kurt's were in the green cardigan. But you hear all those songs and they're quite sort of, they're quite uplifting. And when you think back to the 90s, it was a really good era because September 11 hadn't happened.
No.
Bali hadn't happened.
The last non-internet era?
Yeah.
There was just computers, but there wasn't real...
No, they didn't control your life. You still needed to meet your friends at the balls in the mall or at the Exeter. Or
it was the end of one era, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Of humanity.
Totally. And I reckon, you know, maybe when 20-odd years from now, I'll be sitting in Resthaven in Marion or somewhere, everyone will be getting really sentimental. In the same way the baby boomers get sentimental about the 60s, I reckon our generation will get sentimental about the 90s.
Yep.
Because it was a peaceful and happy time.
Have you seen all the Labor politicians in the UK making... they're sharing that joke image that people may have seen it on their Facebook or on whatever your social media is, where they say it's got a picture of Tony Blair and it says Oasis next to it, and then it says no Oasis, and it's got pictures of David Cameron and Theresa May and the Boris Johnson and every single Conservative Prime Minister in between now and then, and then it's got a picture of Keir Starmer. It says Oasis again.
I had it sent to me by a Labor staffer this morning.
Well, Tom Koutsantonis tweeted it himself.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Excellent. But, yeah, well, I wonder if they're going to come to Adelaide.
Well, there's only 15 shows that have been announced at this point in time. I did laugh at some of the videos that have resurfaced now about the feud and the horrible things they've said about each other, Noel and Liam, over the course of the last 20-odd years.
It's amazing what the prospect of making £100 million will do.
Well, if it's funny you say that number, did you see Liam Gallagher was on one of the Tonight shows going back about 8 years ago? I think it was 2016, and he said, I've already been offered $100 million. I'm not getting back together with this bloke. I don't want to have anything to do with him. There'll never be an amount of money. There's clearly an amount of money.
Oh, yeah. Well, so I know at the moment they're just playing the UK and Ireland, aren't
Yes, yep. 15 gigs.
There's a good text saying there's no way they're going to last that long. Wally the Walnut, he says they won't get back together. They'll argue again and call it off, odds on. But if they did come, I don't know. Maybe we could chuck a bit of money at them for Gather Round or something like that.
Now you talk. What about the concert at the Velo?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Imagine that. Chisel this year, Oasis next year.
That'd be good. We can sell some tickets.
It certainly would.
16 after 6, 8223 0000 is our number. You can text us on the Duttons text line, like Wally already has this morning, 044808 1395. Duttons are a third-generation family-owned dealership with over 70 years' experience. Duttons, easy to do business with. News headlines in a moment.
Everybody knows Right Price are the heating and cooling experts. So imagine how much you can save when they join forces with EcoVantage, the incentive experts. Together with Right Price, EcoVantage will help you source all the government incentives you're entitled to when it comes to heating and cooling your home, including energy-efficient heat pump hot water systems. Right Price and EcoVantage, the best of both worlds when it comes to heating, cooling and government incentives.
How to get Dad off-road with confidence and give him a shot at the ultimate Father's Day gift. Get into TJM and check out their Father's Day sale on now. You could win the old boy or yourself a trip for two to the NRL Grand Final in Sydney with flights, accommodation and an incredible game day experience. Spend $79 or more on TJM products at TJM Ranella or Nailsworth to go in the draw. Head in store now. T's and C's apply.
Now you could win $1 million instant cash. Get your tickets for the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery by midnight this Friday to go into the early bird draw for $1 million.
Your tickets stay in the draw for the $3.9 million grand prize at Glenelg East. And by purchasing a ticket in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery, you can be proud that you are improving life-changing treatments and care for every South Australian.
Now, the early bird deadline is midnight this Friday. Don't miss out on your chance to become an instant millionaire. What would you do with $1 million?
Get your tickets now at homelottery.com.au.
Transform your outdoor space and turn it into a great year-round entertainment area with an opening and closing roof from Louver House. A Louver House roof will let in the perfect combination of airflow and sunlight, so you can entertain no matter the weather. Best of all, they're manufactured right here in SA with rain sensors and options like LED lighting. Find out more with a free design measure and quote. See the light with Louver House. louverhouse.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across My24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
90 minutes after 6, let's jump into the news headlines on this Wednesday morning. The federal opposition is promising to closely scrutinise changes to international student numbers. The government is slashing the number of people allowed to study in Australia. From next year, 270,000 new foreign students will be allowed in. But Shadow Education Minister Sarah Henderson says Labor must be clear on how it will lift standards at universities.
If students are going to go to university, they need to make sure that they're going to get value out of their degrees. And we know that a third of students currently going to university are not getting value. They're getting a very poor education experience.
This is interesting, this story, because anyone who's listening to this and thinks, oh, well, there's probably been too many international students here in South Australia. There's actually going to be more international students in South Australia. And look, I know a lot of people disagree. These people are great for the economy. They inject so much money into our local economy. They prop up local businesses. And provided the rental market issues can be addressed, and you know this is why we just had arguments like the Crown and Anchor. But anyway, setting that part of it aside, Peter Malinauskas has successfully inserted himself in this argy-bargy, and a deal's been done where Adelaide and UniSA keep the current number of students, but Flinders gets more students. So overall, we're going to have more international students in South Australia because they've sort of exempted us from...
Part of the argument is you want to be the home of the most advanced manufacturing task in the history of the country, you might want lots of really educated people hanging around.
Yeah, totally.
So that's part of the reason. 2 Delta Airlines workers in the US have been killed when a tyre on a Boeing jet exploded inside a maintenance hangar. And there was a third worker who was also injured. The cause is unknown. Boeing, of course, has been under scrutiny by aviation watchdogs after several safety incidents this year. They just can't take a trick at the moment.
What a way
Boeing.
to go, though. A tyre...
A burst...
A jet tyre.
Jet tyre.
Is the pressure so intense that it...
Yeah, maybe.
can take
Maybe
you
it
out?
had just begun to fail. It had been under so much pressure and was old or something, but they'll get to the bottom of it, I'm sure. But, gee, Boeing just can't buy a headline at the moment. A man will face court today charged over an armed robbery at Edwardstown. Police were called to a drive-through bottle shop at the Castle Plaza Shopping Centre yesterday afternoon after reports a man had stolen a carton of beer. It's alleged the 23-year-old from Paralawi threatened staff members with a knife before running from the scene. He was found at a house nearby an hour later. Mining companies, the big 4 banks and major retailers would face a 40% tax if they make, and this is good, read into this what you will, excessive profits.
Excessive.
That's under a plan put forward by the Greens. If I was any one of those companies, I'd be concerned about the Greens' definition of excessive. The minor party says Labor would need to back the proposal in the event of minority government. Wow. Opinion polls show Labor may not be able to govern in its own right after the next election, would need the help of the Greens or independents to get legislation passed.
They are just the biggest bunch of economic deals. And, like, you're the economics guy here, not me, Will. You've actually studied it. But there are single-cell organisms floating around at the bottom of the River Torrens that know that if you put a tax like that onto a supermarket or onto a bank or onto a mining company, it immediately, inevitably, automatically gets put onto the cost of a good or a service.
No entity in a free market just says, or shucks.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not going to take... 40% tax doesn't mean a 40% lower profit. It probably means 10% less staff. It probably means 10% higher prices.
I reckon heaps less staff.
Exactly right.
It's not even... You almost feel like you're having an argument with, like, some kid who's going through their radical sort of first-year arts degree phase. Like, you feel like going, oh, look, that's nice. That's,
the sentiment's nice.
I understand that.
Now, the Greens always feel like when at Parliament House they do that thing where, like, the high school kids come through and they play politics in Parliament, and they'll do a speech and so forth. And it is always very sentimental and saccharine and it is good. And you go, good on you. That's the way the world should work.
Exactly. I like seeing kids getting out there and getting involved.
Yeah, and then
Except
the Greens are just them.
Minority partner in the next Albanese government. There's a thought.
Yikes. Village Roadshow Theme Parks is doing its best to reassure holidaymakers that its rides are safe, despite a second incident in a week. 13 people were trapped for over an hour on the Vortex ride at SeaWorld. Have you done the Vortex? I haven't done the Vortex.
No.
Not sure about that one. This is SeaWorld on the Gold Coast. It comes less than a week after dozens of riders were evacuated from the Leviathan roller coaster. The Vortex one, they're up there for over 2 hours.
Oh.
It was stuck in
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, that would be fun.
Didn't the chairlift get stuck years ago? At the Royal Show?
Yeah, it did. Yep.
I wonder if any of our listeners were on it. There was a terrible episode, too, where somebody had some sort of seizure and landed on the roof of the ANZ Bank.
That's right.
At the show.
That's right.
And not long after that, they closed the thing down.
More than half of Australians are finding themselves scrolling aimlessly in bed to try to get to sleep. An IKEA survey found 90% of respondents are waking up feeling sluggish and drained even after a solid night's sleep.
An IKEA survey?
Okay, apparently IKEA are doing surveys. They're doing resale. We're going to talk about that
They're
a little
doing
bit later.
surveys, except you've got to put them surveys together with an Allen key before you can fill them in.
Always wonder what all those pencils were for. Spokeswoman Patricia Routledge says simple swaps and better bedtime practices can help sleepers wake up feeling more refreshed.
It might be that you have a street light that's coming into your room, and so you need to have a look at your blockout curtains, for instance. The temperature might not be right in your room. There's sound, so you might sleep on an especially busy street, air quality, and decluttering as well.
Pretty warm out there at the moment, 14.3 degrees in Adelaide as we speak, but it's warm right across the country. Sydney right now, 18.6. Melbourne's even 14.6, so it's warm just about everywhere. It's not going to get much warmer today, 17 the expected top, maybe a drizzle of rain. Tomorrow will be warm, 23, but again, be a bit blustery. Not too bad, though. Friday will be cooler, potentially up to 10 mils of rain coming through with the change. So 18 and up to 10 mils of rain. What we don't get Friday, we will get Saturday, 18, showers easing, 1 to 6 mils of rain. Then Sunday, showers and becoming windy, top of 19, up to 7 mils of rain. Monday, 19 and a drizzle. And then Tuesday next week, 24 degrees, mostly sunny, and not one of the windy days we've been having.
Wow.
So that sounds like it's going to be
Beach weather.
magnificent. Yeah.
Incredible.
Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast Studio. Plenty to talk about in the world of sport at the moment, thanks to the new Gen Mitsubishi Triton 2024 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Look, we'll start with a bit of positive news. South Aussie Thanasi Kokonakis. We all love Cocky. He's had his fair share of setbacks along the way, a lot of injuries. He's beaten the 11th seed overnight, Stefanos Tsitsipas. So
wow.
That's a great result. Beat him in 4 sets. So opens up the whole draw for him. Hope he has a great deep run. It'd be nice to see him get through to a second week of a Grand Slam.
It's only his body that's let him down over the journey, isn't it? We've never got to know how good he is.
Yeah.
I think he doesn't. He's never got to know how good he is.
Yeah, exactly.
Him and Kyrgios in the doubles were awesome, weren't they?
They were.
That was funny.
Ago.
That was like great entertainment.
It was. But, this is obviously really good for him from a singles perspective, and he can get some good ranking points if he can go deep in this tournament. And by knocking out a seed, it opens up the whole side of the draw for you. So really good result for people waking up this morning. Thanasi's had a win. There are a couple of other Aussies in action. Alex de Minaur's playing at the moment. He's 2 sets to love up, coming back from an injury.
Where did he go to school? Was it Westminster?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
I think he went to Westminster. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks. That's my hunch. I think he did.
Yeah, right. Westminster. Anyway, so, yeah, we'll keep an eye. Been a pretty good start by the Aussies at the US Open, which is good to see. Final Grand Slam of the year. Football, Kane Farrell out for the season. This is going to hurt Port because they're already without Dan Houston. That's 2 elite kicks.
That's sad for him too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so frustrating.
So cruel, football.
For, Port, who've got Farrell missing, and then you've got Dan Houston, who's fit and ready to go.
Yeah.
Can't use him.
So I'm with David. I sort of can't really see Port losing to Geelong. But if you were going to make a case, it's Geelong bogging the game down, and you want precision ball users coming off halfback to avoid kicking it to Tom Stewart 25 times.
Yep.
Now, you don't have Dan Houston, you don't have Kane Farrell.
Mm-hmm.
That's advantage Geelong all of a sudden
Yep.
in that component of the game. So it gives Geelong a chance.
Big time.
Yeah. I still think Port Adelaide are favourites.
I think so. I think their midfield's... I think the Achilles heel for the Cats has been their midfield, and they might even have to push Stewart in there a bit at times. But hopefully Port can get it done, but it's going to be, as we know, a lot of talk about Port, a lot of, can you stand up in a big final? So there'll be all of that comes into sharper focus over the next 8 days.
He went to Scotch, not Westminster.
Scotch, did he?
Kokonakis.
The other thing that is in sharp focus at the moment is what's going on with Christian Petrarca. So he came out on a podcast with Anthony Howard, the Howie Games, Mark Howard, sorry. Let's have a listen to some of what he has had to say.
Being awake for it, internal bleeding, wasn't able to be put to sleep under anaesthetic. So, for me, I can think of every single thing that happened through that time.
Could you feel them cutting into you?
Couldn't feel it, but I remember trying to lash out. I remember lashing out to the surgeon and felt quite claustrophobic. And this must have been 3 a.m, and I didn't know at the time. I was drugged up, but. Yeah, Bella came to the ICU the next day and basically said at 3 a.m, we got the number off the surgeon because he called to say that you might not make it, basically. So just he's in critical condition. So
you might not make it through the operation.
Yeah, because of the internal bleeding and everything. So he's in serious and critical condition. And for me, I think it's just more that piece, the fact that it's the people around you that probably actually feel it more than you.
It sounds like there's a real disconnect there now. It sounds like he wants out of Melbourne. He feels like the trust was broken when he was told to go back out and play.
What about that crazy Sam McClure story? That he's going to Carlton and that Carlton are getting
Mackay.
Well, Mackay's manager's come out and said that's definitely not going to happen. There'll be a lot thrown around in the next few weeks. But look, if I was Melbourne, I think they're done now. I think get rid of him if he wants to go. See you, Christian.
It might actually be a benefit to Melbourne.
100%. I think
cash in.
Get 3 first-round picks and say the only problem with that is. What does it do to Simon Goodwin and Gary Pert? It probably means it's finished for them. And who wants to do that? Mm-hmm. No coach wants to say, look, because if they restart, it's an admission that they are going to restart, and there'll be, of course, fan outcry. But I agree. I think it's best to let's start again.
Yeah.
And he's not part of our next premiership.
Has he ever been to Adelaide? Has he?
Wonderful player, totally get it. But I think Melbourne are now outside that window.
Yeah, I agree with you. Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, Tom.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
17 with showers easing today. With the 6:30 news, I'm Jess Adamson.
Physio, Pilates, hydro, massage, podiatry and exercise classes. Physio Extras Holistic Care. PhysioExtra.com.
There'll be a court appearance today after a robbery involving a motorcycle. 2 men allegedly stole a bike on John Rice Avenue at Elizabeth Vale yesterday. The red Honda was later found abandoned in a reserve. A 23-year-old man was charged with aggravated robbery and riding unlicensed. He was refused bail and has spent the night in custody. A house has gone up in flames at Murray Bridge overnight. 20 CFS crews, police and paramedics were called to Manham Road at 1:30 this morning. They managed to contain the blaze to a laundry at the back of the property. No one was home at the time, but the damage bill is around $75,000. Fire investigators will head to the scene this morning to try and establish a cause. The CFMEU is flagging more protests across the country after the union's construction arm was placed into administration. Jack Hahn reports.
Union heavyweights are calling for maritime union members to walk off the wharves and stand in solidarity with the CMFEU during the next nationwide rally. Sacked leaders of the construction arm of the union are threatening to mount a High Court challenge in the coming days in a bid to reverse the government-triggered administration. Angry members rallied around the country calling for the absolute destruction of the Labor Party, labelling ALP politicians as, quote, rats and traitors, and declaring that Anthony Albanese will be gone at the next election.
Village Roadshow Theme Parks is doing its best to reassure holidaymakers its rides are safe despite a second incident in a week. 13 people were trapped for over an hour on the Vortex ride at SeaWorld on the Gold Coast yesterday afternoon. It comes less than a week after dozens of riders were evacuated from a roller coaster at the theme park. Big business could be hit with $514 billion in extra taxes as part of a new Greens policy. Federal Politics editor Michael Packey.
Opinion polls are increasingly showing the possibility of a hung parliament at the next election, with Labor winning more seats than the coalition but unable to govern in its own right, meaning it would need the support of the Greens or independents. The Greens have started laying out their demands, with party leader Adam Bandt to use a speech at the National Press Club to announce a 40% tax on companies which make so-called super profits. The money would then be used to fund cost of living measures. The move comes as the Greens plan to increase their parliamentary influence, already holding 4 lower house seats and 11 Senate positions.
Overseas, and 2 airline staff have been killed in the US while carrying out a maintenance check on a Boeing jet in Atlanta. A third worker was also injured when a tyre on the jet exploded inside the maintenance hangar. Investigations are underway. The Israeli military says it's rescued a hostage from the South Gaza Strip who spent more than 10 months in captivity. Qaid Farhan al-Qaidi was working as a security guard at a warehouse when he was kidnapped by Hamas. His brother says he's delighted to have him back.
It's difficult to explain how it feels. It's better than having a newborn. We thank God and we thank everyone and hope to see him healthy. We're very happy, very happy.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And Tom Wren, you've got some good news.
Yeah, this is great, isn't it, Jess? That's because South Aussie Thanasi Kokonakis, he's begun his US Open campaign in stunning fashion. Craig Gabriel reports.
It was a huge effort from Thanasi Kokonakis to upset Stefanos Tsitsipas 7-6, 4-6, 6-3, 7-5, and the Australian celebrated with intense excitement. This win means a lot to Thanasi. He's had some very tough losses in his career, so to get a win like this at a major is a massive effort. Jordan Thompson has won and will play Hubi Hurkacz, but on the other side of emotions, it was a very depressed Daria Saville who lost to Ina Shibihara 7-6 in the third. Saville was in pain throughout because of plantar fasciitis, and she was questioning why she's even playing.
Yeah, and there's still plenty of action out on court. Fellow Aussie Alex de Minaur is currently 2 sets to love up against Marcus Giron, but Elena Rybakina has just beaten Australia's Destiny Iava, while Arina Rodionova is locked at a set apiece in her match against her Chinese opponent. Well, former West Coast Premiership player Will Schofield has weighed in on Tom Barrass' request for a trade to Hawthorn. The 28-year-old key defender flagged his intentions during the Eagles' exit meeting yesterday, despite having 3 years left on his current contract. Schofield says he's surprised more players aren't trying to leave.
We've just seen the 3 years West Coast have put together. Why wouldn't you want to leave would be my question. If you're looking at that club right now, they don't have a coach, they've just flipped the entire organisation. Why would you want to stay?
And Cozzy Pickett from Melbourne has failed in his bid to downgrade a 3-match ban for a bump on Collingwood captain Darcy Moore, meaning he'll miss the first 3 rounds next year. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now the 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
17 with showers easing today, partly cloudy, and 23 tomorrow. Windy with showers and back to 18 on Friday. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across My 24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 to 7, Sean Fewster in an hour's time will go around the courts. If you want to get to the show, it's just around the corner. We've got a family pass to give away. And I'll tell you what a jam-packed weekend it's going to be. The show starting and Father's Day. If you need help on that front, $100 Charlesworth a hamper is coming up a little bit later as well. Start arming yourself with your best or worst dad jokes. We're not sure what exactly wins that category, but it's one or the other. It's either the best or the worst one we hear. We're giving that away after 7 o'clock this morning. With Lucy back as part of the team, it means a return to a touch of etiquette. Good to have you back, Luce. Good morning to you.
Thank you. Good morning.
We've missed you, Luce.
No, you didn't.
We did.
You probably blinked and the 4 weeks was over.
No, I'll tell you,
like.
Mr. T, the listeners are going, where's Lucy? Where's Lucy?
Yes.
She's just toddled off.
Let the conspiracy theories arise. I was fired for 4 weeks and they brought me back.
Yeah.
That is exactly what happened.
That's right.
It turns out Lucy's got good lawyers.
Yeah. I mean, you know, that's the thing. You can always take legal action for unfair dismissal.
Well, why do you think I did my law degree?
That's right.
Sole
Exactly.
purpose.
Exactly.
No, well, it does also mean the movie segment will be back this week. So
Excellent.
for the movie fans, that'll be back as well tomorrow. But touch of etiquette today. Now, I believe I missed a fair bit of footy news.
Yeah, a little bit went on.
Well, I was gone. Last week especially.
Yeah.
In between my, like Rowie on the flight back from Doha, I too was plotting how to sum up the Crows season.
Gee, what, have you got a monologue for us?
No, not at all. But it did get me thinking, and now the Crows season is over. Port still going on a bit into finals. Who are our fair weather and true supporters out there? I will put my hand up and say I'm a true supporter when the Crows are winning.
Which means you're a fair weather supporter.
Which means I'm a fair weather supporter. To the point, and this is where I want to get to, is when I go to Adelaide Oval, I love going to watch. If they are significantly losing, I'm out at 3/4 time.
Aha. I can see where this is going.
3/4 time. Not only because I like to get enough sleep, I like to get to my car or an Uber. And if they're not winning, what's the point?
This might be the first time in South Australian history, Luce, that any supporter of either the Adelaide or the Port Adelaide football clubs has admitted publicly that they leave games early.
8223 What do people do? And especially now, given how the teams have turned out this year, Port supporters probably went through a period where they were leaving early.
I think this is good, because I think you've hit on the crux of this, David. So the touch of etiquette question, is it okay to leave your football team, is it ever okay to leave early?
See, you see hundreds of people on the news doing it.
But no one admits to it.
No one admits to it.
Yeah.
No one ever admits to it.
This is a safe space. We keep our secrets close here. If you admit something on the air,
Yeah,
only
it can be anonymous.
100,000 will hear it.
Is it ever okay to leave the footy early? 8223 0000. Is it sacrilege?
My daughter's boyfriend is a Swan supporter because he's got a New South Wales family background. And he was at the Swans Port game the other day, that freak show where they were like 15 goals behind and hadn't scored or whatever it was. And I texted Safe at half time and said, "Tell me you're not there." And she said, "No, we just left."
Half time.
They left at half time and went into town and
okay.
had a nice drink somewhere in Peel Street instead. But he's just like, I'm not putting up with this crap. I reckon that's fair
15 goals down, leaving at half time. Fair enough.
I've told the story before, but I always distinctly remember the lesson my father taught me at Footy Park, where he always said, You never leave your game. You never leave early. You watch it if you're here and you're supporting. You watch it to the end. Watch it to the end. Except there was a game, and I think it was about Ben Jordan he knows this off the top of his head, and I always lose the date. I think it was about 94, 95. Adelaide lost to Fitzroy, who at the time basically hadn't won a game.
Well, his dad might have been playing that day.
No, he was retired at that point.
Yeah.
By about 5 goals, 6 goals at Footy Park, when Victorian teams never came here and won. And at the midway through the fourth quarter, he got up and went, "We're leaving." Oh, well, Dad, we don't leave. That's right. But sometimes your footy team is so bad, you need to send them a message that this is not good enough. And that was the only time I ever remember us storming out of a game.
I must admit, I'm actually in the suck it up camp, and particularly if I was there with the kids, I'd say, no, you've just... Because you also don't want to give the opposition fans the satisfaction of seeing you skulking down the staircase.
Would you leave even, 5 minutes early? Just to beat the crowd?
I would leave the instant the siren went and just do it. Right, I'm out here. I don't want to hear the opposition song. When I moved back from Sydney, Sturt were really, really, really bad for a very long time. And I reckon I'd been going to the games for 3 years. It was like 2011, 12, 13, 14. One day I was sitting there with my son Jim, who was 9 at the time. And we've been flogged by Norwood at the Adelaide Oval. And audibly, to the delight of neighbouring Norwood fans, Jim said to me, "Dad, are we ever going to see Sturt win a game?"
That's so cruel.
It's terrible. But we used to sit there week in, week out and just take the pain. And next thing you know, it's 2016.
And then now how the tables have turned. Let's go to Glenelg North. Helen, what do you think about this? Is it ever okay to leave early?
Yes.
You're a leaver, Helen?
I'm a leaver. I even leave the room when I'm at home. I recall going to see Port over in Melbourne some years ago at the MCG there, playing Hawthorn. I thought, this is it. I'm going.
You left?
By the time we got back, I was downstairs. Then Port were in front again.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. You did the walkout and it turned around.
Yes, it did. But then they lost anyhow. But my husband gets so annoyed that I do this. But anyhow.
You wander off.
I think the walkout at home is perfectly acceptable.
Oh, yeah, that's why I've always got one eye on the footy and one eye on, the pot or something I can do out in the garden. The beef ragu. You got to have, for your own mental health, I reckon you don't need to sit there transfixed to the television if you're getting pants.
Oh, no, I hate watch. Barry, good morning. Morning, Barry.
Good morning, boys. Never leave early. I've known people to leave early when Port have been 5 goals down with 10 minutes to go, and Port have got up and won. I said, I've been going to football now for nearly 50 years, and I hate the thought of it.
Well, Barry, I reckon you're right, mate. There's probably people listening now who were at the Port Hawthorn game who left.
Without a doubt. Missed the most consequential game of the year.
Totally.
The ending, anyway. Maria and Seaton, good morning.
Good morning, boys. How are you?
Good, thanks, Maria.
Now, I did when I did go to football games. I don't go as often now, but I did when the Crows played. I do stay. Well, my husband and I did stay till the last, right to the end. But one year we went to the game, and it was at Adelaide Oval. We were playing Richmond, and it was a rainy night, and at 3/4 time, half time, I said to my brothers, I'm just going to go, now that there's nobody around, get a clear passage, go to the bathroom, and then I get something to eat.
Yep.
And lo and behold, at the time I didn't realise who David was. I didn't recognise him, David, the co-host there. So I'm standing under this tree, and it was raining. I got a gourmet hot dog, which was disgusting, but that's another story. And then I'm looking, and this gentleman's walking up with his hands in his pocket, face down, really sad face, and it must have been your son. And then when I saw you in the newspaper and put the name to the face to the name, I thought, well, that's David walking out at half time or 3/4 time. And it was
I
raining.
might have been walking out for another reason, Maria.
But it was cold and rainy, and yeah.
Thank you.
Mum's not listening.
Thank you, Maria.
We have a bold admission here on the Duttons text line.
Daryl?
We found one. No name given. I am a Port supporter. I left the Hawthorn game early. I missed an unbelievable win, but the main reason we do leave early is because we've got 2 young kids and it's easy to get back to the car or get an earlier train. But yeah, walking out of that one, you just never know in football.
There's another debate to be had around concerts. Do you leave concerts early to get to your
Who
car?
leaves a concert early?
I left Taylor Swift at Wembley Stadium early.
Why? You're kidding.
No, to beat the 95,000
So you didn't get all the midnight
there.
songs at the end?
No,
Wait.
we stayed and left halfway through the final song.
Which is Karma.
Yeah, which is a terrible song anyway, in my opinion.
Karma's a good song.
But to beat the 95,000
So you walked out for the same
people,
reason my father walked out of the FIVEAA game. You went, this is garbage.
3 hours of Taylor
I'm sending
Swift,
Taylor a message.
and I'm going to leave halfway through the final song. Take
Yeah.
that, Taylor
Cop that,
Swift.
Taylor Swift.
What was the best song live?
Oh, all of them? I didn't know half of them, but it was incredible.
I always thought Ready For It was a crap song, but then live.
Any concert live usually is better, but that's a debate for another day.
Cruel Summer live is something else with all the kiddies going
Shake it off. I messaged Sam and said I'm thinking of David in this very moment, and he said, you're on holidays, don't think about David.
No, don't think about me.
Ben Jordan, round 8, 1995. I knew he'd work it out. He said FIVEAA only won one more game out of their next 36 before they folded.
Seriously?
That's how bad that day was.
That is embarrassing.
Good on you, Luce. Thank
Right on,
you.
Luce.
I think you're right.
Great to have you
Your
back.
point right at the start, David, is the pertinent one. It's like the reverse of the Beatles in Adelaide principle, where there was 100,000 people that lined the streets, but there must be 1.5 million who claim they were there.
Yeah.
This is the reverse of that.
Yeah.
Where every week there are thousands who do it. There's literally no one, or there's about 3 people that accept that they have been among that
And
number.
you can tell when the look on their faces, they look like they've been caught coming out of a brothel. When you see them leaving the ground...
It's so true. It's public shaming. It's so bizarre, isn't it?
Great topic, Luce.
All right, let's check traffic. Say no to the nursing home. Choose Alpha Support at home.
Thanks, Will Lane. Morning, David. Small bingo to look out for this morning at Wingfield, Wilkins Road near Hanson Road. A little bit sluggish at Nova Gardens for works on Anzac Highway near Morford Road. Clearview has activity too, Hampstead Road near Airedale Avenue, and we're down at 40k South Road through Everson and Glandorf. Ongoing works there. LA1 cameras, Churchill Road, Kilburn, and Athol Streets at Athol Park. With Father's Day almost here, give your 1 in a million Dad a Coles Group and Myer gift card with millions of gifts from thousands of stores. Available in-store now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Her mum's on the phone while she's on her skates.
Careful, honey, don't get too close to the road.
She rides from the top of the driveway to test how fast she can go. And suddenly...
Wait, stop!
She's testing your brakes too. Stop and take time to ensure your car stops in time and the brakes are all you hit. Let Automasters test your brakes before someone else does. Call 1300 Automasters.
Join Gliderol in celebrating the Colorbond Steal the Show promotion. By purchasing a roller door or sectional door made from Colorbond steel from Gliderol, now or within the last 12 months, you could win $100,000. Visit gliderol.com.au today for a free measure and quote. Retail customers only. T's and C's apply. See colorbond.com/steal the show. 18 plus only. Strict purchase and eligibility criteria apply. Ends 30/11/24.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Artificial intelligence is the next big game changer, and it's at the heart of Microsoft's latest suite of Surface products. Microsoft's AI called Copilot Plus will help navigate your tasks. It doesn't just make things easier or predict what's next. It can truly transform your daily life. It handles the little things so you can focus on what really matters. The Surface laptops feature a touchscreen, ample memory, all-day battery life, and AI-enhanced capabilities to improve your productivity. Experience the best combination of Copilot Plus with the Surface laptop, with pricing starting from $1,899. Act now and you'll receive a bonus $100 Harvey Norman gift card with any Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you.
Her mum's on the phone while she's on her skates.
Careful, honey, don't get too close to the road. Wait, stop!
Let Automasters test your brakes before someone else does. Call 1300 Automasters.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across My 24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
9 minutes to 7. Let's talk about the weather today. Simon Timke at the Bureau joins us. Morning to you, Simon.
Morning, Will. Morning, David.
What does the rest of Wednesday look like?
Yeah, look, a bit windy and a little bit showery at times this morning. Looking on the radar at the moment, a couple of showers just pushing across the Adelaide area, particularly the southern suburbs. We've recorded a little bit through the early hours of the morning. We've had around 3 millimetres down at Kaipo, around 5 millimetres at Ackland Hill. Although there have been a couple of showers over the Adelaide Plains, we haven't recorded too much, just 0.2 of a millimetre at Adelaide Airport. And I think as the day goes on, we'll see those showers gradually become less likely through the afternoon period. So the morning and early part of the afternoon likely to be 1 or 2 around, probably less likely after that. Winds still a bit fresh and gusty from the west today, and those winds also easing sort of mid to late afternoon. Temperature-wise, quite a bit cooler than yesterday. We're expecting a maximum of 17 degrees here in the city. Currently, we're sitting on 13.8, so temperature's not going to rise a whole lot today. Maximum temperatures around the suburbs, 17 as well for Noarlunga, Glenelg and Elizabeth, 15 degrees for Mount Barker. On Thursday, I think we'll see the winds increase again. There's another front approaching, so becoming windy during the day. Slight chance of a shower, but only sort of later in the evening. Should be dry during the day and a bit warmer too, 23 degrees for Thursday. And then cooling down again on Friday following that front, 18 degrees for Friday. Still some showers around and still a bit windy. And showery and windy conditions continuing into the weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, likely to see some showers about and some gusty winds at times too. 18 degrees for Saturday, 19 degrees for Sunday, guys.
Good on you, Simon.
Thanks,
Thank you. Simon Timke at the Weather Bureau. Let's head over to Sapole. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad joins us. Kimberly, a couple of youths have been locked up after they were caught stealing a car.
Yeah, good morning. We had a white Toyota Camry sedan that was reported stolen from a Smithfield address just before 8 o'clock last night. And police were able to spot that stolen car just after 9 o'clock in Salisbury North and called in Polair to help with the search. Now, officers managed to successfully spike all 4 tyres of the car in Rolleston Avenue, and that's where the drivers tried to run off, but Polair was overhead at that point with the spotlight and police were able to locate him. So we had a 16-year-old boy from Smithfield. He was arrested, along with another boy who was also located in a rear yard nearby, and that other youth is a 14-year-old boy from Salisbury North. So both will be appearing in court today, charged over that stolen car.
I always wonder how you guys managed to find people with such precision up in the helicopter like that. Because I reckon every other night we've heard it lately. There seems to be a lot of stuff going on at night, but it's an amazing job the officers do on board that thing, Kimberly.
100%, and I've not been up there myself, but I've certainly seen plenty of their vision, and it's really, really clear, and particularly when they've got the spotlight on. Yeah, it's a fantastic tool for us, that's for sure.
Yeah, totally. And this is going getting a bit monotonous. A drink driver's been caught at Regency Park.
It certainly is. This one was about 12:30 overnight. We were called to a single vehicle crash on South Road, Regency Park. Now, the Holden sedan had mounted a curb while conducting a U-turn, but ended up popping 2 of its tyres in the process. So the drivers decided to just leave it there, walk off, and the car was left in the middle lane of South Road. But we had some witnesses follow the driver, and we've located him on Tominga Avenue. So we've got a 27-year-old man from Croydon. He was arrested and charged with drink driving after recording a reading of 0.152, so 3 times the legal limit there. He's been bailed to appear in court in October.
Yeah, tedious. Thanks for that. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad there from Sapole. As Kimberly was chatting then, I was thinking about the wonderful column. Jess Adamson's columns are really, really good because there's the worst thing was so many columns are written about things that journos care about. Often like real Canberra Press Gallery, navel gazing stuff. Jess is the good form of columnist who writes about things that touch people's lives that they really care about. Her piece today, We Have to Crush These Morons on Our Roads, it's really good because she talks about how her day starts here at 5AA and you know, how she joined us in, February this year. And as she comes in, every day is a blank piece of paper. You know, what am I going to do? What's the lead story? And the one thing, you know, it's almost like the rhythm section for the newsroom. The one thing you can rely on is morons on the roads.
Yeah.
Right? Without fail. And the whole thrust of the piece is, you know, I think everyone would agree with her. You know, the overwhelming majority of us who do the right thing, don't speed, don't drink drive, don't take meth, etc., register our cars, get our licences, go to government SA centres and queue up every 5 years and pay whatever it is to get your licence renewed. You know, the drongos out there is just doing the same, you know what, over and over again.
And we know it's the same because we often hear there was their 17th chance or their 16th chance or whatever it might, whatever astronomical figure that seems to come out when these things ultimately go through the courts. Yesterday, around the country, CFMEU protests against the federal government's decision to place the union into administration following allegations that essentially organised crime had perpetrated its ranks. There were all sorts of dodgy deals going on, and the government said enough is enough. We need to take this union's responsibility out of its own hands. So that led to massive nationwide protests yesterday, joined by not just members of the CFMEU, but other unions concerned about government overreach.
We fight for our brothers. We're here to look after the safety, and that's the most important thing.
We're a good bunch of people that care about Adelaide.
He is here in spirit, right through every one of you.
That's a little bit of colour from the protest around the country.
The numbers were huge, and the protests were peaceful. There were about 60,000 people. I reckon it's hugely significant in the lead up to an election where you've got a Labor government that is finding its popularity is on the slide. You've got a huge percentage of its industrial arm saying vote independent or green. And they'll do it. There's no way. These CFMEU guys and the ETUs and CEPU, all of them, I reckon a lot of them will go, no, you know, I mean, this was utterly appalling, you know, the idea of comparing any of this to the horrors of Nazism and World War II. But did you see some of the posters yesterday?
Well, Albanazi.
You know, like the level of hatred, irrational and tasteless in that case, but the level of hatred that exists towards Albo from people who've traditionally been queuing up every election going, okay, we've got the checkbook out, how much money do you want from the CFMEU? That's not happening. So
he's fighting a war on two fronts now, isn't he?
He is.
He's got what is ostensibly his primary enemy, and that's Peter Dutton and the Conservatives in Australia, pushing a line about the way our borders are being protected and how the economy's working and housing and so forth. And on the other, he's got the union saying, you've forgotten us.
So he's being attacked from the right and the left.
You can't be fighting everyone at the same time.
The other thing, too, is that as big a hate figure as John Setka is, and this text from Mick in Glandore bears it out, there is residual sympathy in some sections of the union movement and in some sections of the community even for some of the non-Setka people at the CFMEU. Mick sent a photo through saying, I was out last night at our Fred's van service in the city and we were joined by a group from the CFMEU Young Activists Group who've raised $6,000 for our street friends. They're absolutely fantastic. Our clients love them. It's probably the 1% that give everyone a bad name. And he says, P.S. this was planned months ago, not in response to anything going on now.
It's good text.
It is a good text. I might quibble with you, though, politely, Mick, about whether it's 1%. But
we'll find out, won't we?
We will. Yeah. We will. But it's a good point you make.
These days you can charge your phone, your watch, your laptop, your bike, even your car. Well, the day has finally come where you can charge your excavator. I know. You can charge your very own excavator, but only if it's a Volvo electric excavator. It's not noisy, it's pretty much silent, it's green, there's no emissions, and it'll leave you without a worry in the world. How good. Inquire today through Warren Mining for all your construction equipment needs. Warren Mining. Enjoy the sound of silence.
Ever had the feeling you're being watched online? Scammers are always looking for new ways to con you. They're criminals and they're clever. But Australian banks have joined forces in the war against them. Intelligence sharing between banks will identify new types of scams faster. A new payment system to ensure you pay the right person is being rolled out. Unique identity checks will defend against identity theft. And there'll be more double checks when you're paying someone new. Australian banks are working to protect you.
The news and information that matters. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
17 with showers easing today. With the 7 o'clock news, I'm Jess Adamson.
Physio Extra for Locomat robotic technology treating stroke, cerebral palsy, brain and spinal cord injuries. Visit physioextra.com.
2 boys aged 14 and 16 will face court today, charged with stealing a car at Smithfield last night. Police spotted the stolen car just after 9 in Salisbury North and called in Polair to help search the area. They managed to spike the vehicle's tyres in Rollston Avenue, where the driver tried to make a run for it. The 16-year-old Smithfield boy was arrested and charged with aggravated robbery, illegal use of a motor vehicle and breach of bail. The 14-year-old from Salisbury North was found in a nearby backyard. He's also been charged with illegal use and breach of bail. A man will face court today charged over an armed robbery at Edwardstown. Police were called to a drive-through bottle shop at the Castle Plaza shopping centre yesterday afternoon after reports a man had stolen a carton of beer. It's alleged the 23-year-old from Paralawi threatened staff members with a knife before running from the scene. He was found at a house nearby an hour later. A 16-year-old boy caught by Carlton coach Michael Voss yesterday has been bailed. The teenager is accused of running away from a stolen car that crashed in Melbourne. Police allege he was armed with a machete. He'll face a children's court at a later date. Voss is playing down his role in the arrest.
No, it was a little bit of action. I was sort of hoping to be on a couple of days break, but no. It's all good. It's all good. So nothing to report here. Everyone's safe and healthy, and that's probably all that matters.
The federal opposition is promising to closely scrutinise changes to international student numbers. The government is slashing the number of people allowed to study in Australia. From next year, 270,000 new foreign students will be allowed in. But Shadow Education Minister Sarah Henderson says Labor must be clear on how it will lift standards at universities.
If students are going to go to university, they need to make sure that they're going to get value out of their degrees. And we know that a third of students currently going to university are not getting value. They're getting a very poor education experience.
Federal investigators have been raiding disability service providers to stamp out fraudulent behaviour. A task force has been established to stop false claims being made to the National Disability Insurance Scheme. It's part of the government's efforts to cap NDIS spending growth at 8% a year. A first-of-its-kind blood test could revolutionise the way Alzheimer's disease is diagnosed. Researchers at Monash Uni are using sensor technology to detect ultra-low concentrations of disease markers in the blood within minutes. Until now, the only way to detect the condition has been through intrusive brain imaging. The Israeli military has rescued a hostage kidnapped by Hamas during its attack in October. UK correspondent Jessica Millwood.
The 52-year-old father of 11 has been reunited with his family 326 days after he was taken hostage. Kayed Farhan El-Kadi reportedly managed to escape from his captors before Israeli troops rescued him. The Bedouin Arab was flown back to Israel, where he's receiving medical treatment, but doctors say he's in a good condition. The exact location of the operation is being kept secret.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Good morning, Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Jess. We'll start with football. Port Adelaide forward Charlie Dixon says the week off will do him the world of good heading into next week's qualifying final against Geelong. Pardon me, Dixon was a late withdrawal due to a virus and was actually flying home from Perth while the game was being played. The 33-year-old telling 5AA's Driving with Dixon he was feeling a bit crook heading into the game.
I was sort of not quite 100% going over anyway with a sort of bit of a tight hemi, and then we're going to warm up on the Sunday, and then I managed to get some sort of virus probably on the plane. But there were a few blokes who were sick during the week, but I feel like I've been crook for about a month and a half.
But the Power will be without defender Kane Farrell for the rest of the season, as he's been ruled out with a severe hamstring strain he suffered in the loss against Fremantle. Meantime, Carlton will be without forward Matt Owies after he failed to overturn a one-match ban for a dangerous tackle, while Cozzy Pickett was also unsuccessful at the tribunal last night, meaning he'll miss the opening 3 rounds next season. Let's get to tennis, and South Aussie Thanasi Kokkinakis has put together one of his best ever Grand Slam performances, beating 11th seed Stefanos Tsitsipas in 4 sets to advance to the second round. Fellow Aussie Alex de Minaur has just dropped the third set against American Marcos Giron, but still leads 2-1. And on the women's side, there were losses for Daria Saville, Destiny Iava and Taylor Preston, while Arina Rodionova is locked at a set apiece in her match, but is now down a break of serve in the deciding set. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Aged 45 to 49, search Australian Government free bowel screening kit and order yours today.
Morning there, roads aren't looking too bad this morning. Shouldn't have too much of a bad run in, which is great. Have a small being good lookout for Port Adelaide, Frederick Road near Old Port Road, but not causing too many great delays. Activity at Goodwood Slope, Goodwood Road near Railway Terrace, busy, South Road at Karata Park and down to Footy, Crafers West, the tunnels near Mount Barker Road. Cameras Torrens Road, Croydon Park and Rosedale Avenue at Blarathal. When the lucky country isn't so lucky, lucky you with Amy. Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS and TMD at amy.com.au. and consider whether it's right for you. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
17 with showers easing today, partly cloudy and 23 tomorrow. Showers, windy and 18 for Friday. Showers easing and 18 for the first day of the Royal Show on Saturday. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Thanks to Solar Heart, smart savings are in the air and on your roof. By replacing your old water heater with a Solar Heart heat pump, you can create hot water out of thin air. And with our smart solar power systems and trusted Solar Heart warranties, you'll turn sunshine into savings for years to come. Right now, you'll also save $500 on any Solar Heart heat pump or solar power system 5 kilowatts and above. That's right, $500 off heat pumps and solar power. Get smart. Get Solar Heart. Terms and conditions apply.
Reframe what's possible with Maxima Employment Services. We support all job seekers in finding work, starting an apprenticeship or traineeship, and have specialised programs and mentoring for people living with a disability, injury or illness, including NDIS participants. We also know how to work with employers to job carve opportunities tailored to the employee and the employer. Landing your first job, changing careers or finding a new team member can feel impossible. You don't have to do it alone. Let Maxima help you reframe what's possible.
Setting the agenda for South Australia. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across My24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Eight after 7, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday. If you're joining us for the first time, it's a sort of cloudy start to the day. Not particularly cool, but not the sort of nice spring days we've been getting either. There'll be drizzly. Might be a return to those next week. Today there's going to be a little bit of wind about the place again. Lots to talk about news-wise, so let's just jump straight into it this morning, shall we? Sean Fuster will be up very shortly and we'll go around the courts. One of the stories that will come through the courts at some point in time very soon revolves around what appears to be a repeat offender on the road rage front. We've had the video of this on 7 News.
This is unbelievable.
The last couple of nights. So, well, look, let me play this. It started on Marion Road, where drivers captured an incident where this bloke pulled out and started. He was aggressive with the car of a vehicle behind him that had 3 women inside. They get out of the car to remonstrate with him as he's banging on the window. 3 women inside.
He punches the door.
One of them tries to film him on her phone, and he slaps it out of her hand before cocking his fist.
Yeah, he's standing back like he's in a boxing ring.
Well, last night another video emerged that appears to show this guy again. This time at Noongar Centre. Again, same sort of behaviour, raging. It's this woman had a child in the car. Here is Shauna, who sat down for an interview.
He broke the back passenger door handle, so that's to where my son was. Yep, terrified. I didn't know what he was going to do if he got in the car.
So on both those occasions, 47-year-old Hackham West man was reported to the police. Clearly a hero. Clearly likes to get out of the car when there's a woman he thinks has done something to him behind him.
Well, look, it's all going through the courts, so we don't want to say anything conclusive, but we could say that on the evidence so far, it looks like he might be the type of deranged psychopath who should not be on the roads at all. That's just what he looks like. Whether he's proven to be one or not remains to be seen. My God.
Why isn't this... This is what, the thing I was watching... As I watched the second video of this last night, and again, you're right, why isn't this a bigger story? In an environment where we will doubtless in November this year have a big ha-ha about the White Wyvern Day breakfast and so forth, and everyone will go along and talk about what more needs to be done and the sort of messages we need to send.
Yeah, well, he's a real hero, isn't he?
What kind of message... Look, as a society, how we deal with incidents like this, surely that should be the focus now.
Now, there's no context in which road rage, getting out of your car at the intersection to
of course not
have a word with someone is ever permissible. However, as a bloke, like as a normal bloke whose brain's wired the right way, don't you reckon if you had, say someone cut you off really badly, didn't indicate, and you honked them and then they gave you the finger, and you pulled up next to them at the lights, and it was another guy, you would sort of, if it wasn't a guy, if it was a woman with two daughters in the car, say, surely you'd check yourself a bit, wouldn't you? Not in this case. He's out of the car. He's getting ready to punch them. He's punching their car.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a gutless so-and-so, isn't he?
Like, this surely should be the test of, we want to see how far we've come as a society when it comes towards violence against women. Why don't we crack down really hard on the people that quite obviously have a problem with it?
Well, if he's doing that to...
I'm not even saying this guy, just generally speaking.
But if you're prepared to act like that with a female stranger, God only knows what you're like in the privacy of your own home.
This is it. Just extraordinary. That video's up on the on 7 News social media if you do want to see it. It is quite
probably said enough, and as we said at the start, innocent till proven guilty.
Yeah, well, but as we said, in incidents like this, surely they should be taken more seriously. Forgetting the substance of this particular one, but examples of...
Don't go getting your hopes up.
No, I'm not, but I'm just saying, surely that's the test of progress, not how many people go to a breakfast. What do the courts say? What does our justice system say? When people actually do the wrong thing.
100%.
Well, I tell you what, there's one thing, I almost said something I shouldn't, about how things go through the courts, how we've spoken about them in the past, and how sometimes that might lead to change. Yesterday, the Premier of the state announced some more detail with regard to a child sex offender register.
I don't think there's a parent in the state that doesn't have the concern that they may live next door to a child sex offender and not know it.
Do you remember what the impetus of this was?
Wasn't it our mate in Brompton?
Colin Humphreys.
Yeah.
Bowden, Brompton area. He released into that area. People said, what? The parole board says this guy is dangerous. Why shouldn't we know where he lives?
Correct.
Well, this legislation is the byproduct of that. So what is going to happen? There'll be a child sex offender register, if the legislation gets through in its current form. People can file applications for information. So if you're a citizen, you can say, well, I want some access, and here's the basis on which you can ask for access. The police can do it. They might want to publish the photograph and name of a registered child sex offender who isn't meeting their reporting obligations or whose whereabouts have become unknown. So the police can say now, if someone's up to no good and we don't know where they are, we can put up pictures of them. Great. Any member of the public would be able to make an application to the police commissioner to see if there are any high-risk offenders living in their own town or suburb. And parents or guardians will be able to make an application to see if any person who has unsupervised contact with their child has a history of child sex offences. So
you really got to put the effort in and have a bit of a hunch that something sus is already happening, though, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. It's not exactly free and full disclosure.
No, it's not.
It requires you to ask some questions. But at very least, it's better than the total blanket, no access to information people have had previously.
Wouldn't it be better, though, if if someone as demonstrably foul as that Humphreys bloke is going to be let out into a community, that at least the residents of that street get told automatically in advance, because otherwise you wouldn't know. You'd have no way of knowing. And look, to be completely candid, the only reason that became public, and we stuffed up and apologised at the time, and it was done in good faith and an innocent mistake, but it was in a court judgment, part of which had been suppressed but still existed in its original form online, and we weren't aware of the suppression, and that's how it entered the public domain in the first instance, which it shouldn't have done. But it just sort of feels like no one's going to be really having any clarity around it unless someone sort of tipped them into a bit of inside knowledge.
Another extraordinary story that emerged yesterday, and it relates to a whole heap of stuff we've been talking about on the program, and it just demonstrates how much Bill Shorten, as the NDIS Minister, has on his agenda at the moment. Now, our focus, we hope, would be on cases like Alex Kosteriadis, who's spoken to us a few times. He's got this shocking situation whereby he's had to sell the family business, eventually become a full-time carer, because the NDIS, I think, according to any normal person's understanding of what it should do and his circumstances, has stuffed up and no longer funds the full-time care of his daughter, who requires 2-on-1 care 24 hours a day. We would like Bill Shorten's focus to be on that. We've spoken to the Minister's office. He says, well, at the moment, I'm putting this legislation through. I need to focus on that. Then yesterday, this extraordinary story came out, and this is happening here in Adelaide as well, where there was a raid at a property at St George's as part of a nationwide series of raids with regard to NDIS frauds. A series of warrants were executed yesterday, probing links between the NDIS and organised crime. This is... You wonder where the money's going. Here's Bill Shorten yesterday.
Let this story from this morning be a lesson to crooks. You will get a knock on the door at a time that doesn't suit you, and we will find the evidence. There are elements of organised crime who have seen the lack of scrutiny in the NDIS as an opportunity to make money and to launder. We know who you are, and we will catch you.
This is staggering, isn't it? But you build anything that's such an open-ended revenue stream, and it's inevitably going to attract bad elements, isn't it?
Yeah. You imagine it might attract the old grifter, but attracting the interests of organised crime is makes it, potentially an industrial level sort of defrauding of the Australian public. Let's take some calls. A few people have called in on our news wrap this morning, 8223 0000. Deborah in Osborne's one of them. Morning to you, Deborah.
Hi. I think there should be a review into the parliaments over the past 50 years, because I'm tired of parliaments making decisions on the economic outcome with no regard to the human outcome.
Okay.
And home detention is one of those. Now, those people put in home detention, as Francis Nelson said, unless they're trained to go straight into the workforce, in the same position, put them in jail in the first place. Now, who are going to be the poor people in the community? They're going to have one or two home detainees living in the same street as you.
Yeah, good point.
Cheery thought, isn't it?
I think it's time that governments have woken up and had to put the human outcome on parity with the economic outcome.
Yeah.
I heard Tom Coots and Tona say we have to have home detention because it costs $100,000 a year to keep a person in jail. What does it cost the community to put them out of jail?
Yeah, it's a great point, Deborah. I think.
Thanks for your call, Deborah.
Let's go to Mary, who's...
Oh, hello.
Mary, good morning to you.
Morning. Oh, Will and Dave, I just rang up. I missed the beginning of it, but I just came into the finish when you were talking about these new laws for pedophiles.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I am absolutely disgusted. Now, I'm speaking from experience. I'm going to get upset. Sorry. I haven't seen my sister for over 30 years because of a dirty, stinking, rotten pedophile. And you go for help and you are told, we can't help you. We can't tell you anything. I believe this man is finally in jail after 40 years, and Mr. Malinaskas comes out and says, if you want to know, ring up the police. I sent 3 letters to the Commissioner of Police and I did not get one answer. He has been in jail for molesting another child. These laws, unless they're open to the public, we won't get anywhere because they will not listen to the people. They don't listen to the families. And unless they come in with a lot stringent, tougher laws, and this man should have already been named, and there's nothing about him. I'm sorry, I'm really angry. I just heard
You're making good points.
Fair enough.
Do you get... Is it a case of when you've written these letters in the past, Mary, you just haven't got a reply, or have you been told for privacy reasons we can't answer any of your questions? Is it that sort of thing too?
The last one with the 3 to the police commissioner, I got no answers whatsoever. And what happened is this started with my family 40-odd years ago. And when we found out what was going on as a family, we bloody tried hard to get to it. And we were told nothing. We were told, unless they come out and say what's going on in that household, we can't tell you. This man used to ring me daily, ring me up and abuse me because I wouldn't go on his side. Then about 30 years ago, the last time I saw my sister was at our mother's funeral. Have not seen her since. She was put in police protection to keep her alive. We know why she did where she was. But her children were left behind with this bloody, dirty, stinking rotten man, and nobody did anything. And then about 2019, we found out he'd been in jail for molesting another child, and he was just coming out of jail. And then I have to say my niece, who I don't talk to, she was going after my sister and this man with an AVO, and I wrote to the police commissioner to find out what in the hell is going on. No reply.
You paint a picture of the sort of things that can happen in the absence of transparency, when people are left wondering, or they don't know, or they can't get access to information, and families feel vulnerable. And it sounds like rather dramatically so in your case, Mary. Situation. It really is. Thank you for sharing with us. We appreciate it. 8223 is Adam. You can text us, of course, at any time on the Duttons text line as well. We're going to check traffic and come back. We might do a bit of a giveaway next.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Let's do it.
Let's give away some stuff. We've got plenty in the kit bag today. Stuff. We're going to do it next. Say no to the nursing home. Choose Alpha. Support at home.
Thanks, Will. Roads aren't looking too bad for the run-in today. No great dramas. Do a small bingle at Port Adelaide to look out for. Frederick Road near Old Portbo, but not seeing too many delays there. Bits like Clarence Park, Cross Road near Eaton Street, down to 40 at Somerton Park, Oaklands Road near Margaret Avenue for works. And you'll find early morning cameras this morning. Main North Road at Enfield and Torrens Road at Croydon Park. It's the Multivan Sale event at Volkswagen. Enhance all your adventures in the Multivan range with a $3,000 factory bonus and a free 5-year care plan. Ends September 30. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
You'd know, as Treasurer, this is firmly in your court. Costs go up for businesses, which means that'll be passed on, prices will go up, consumers then might say it's too expensive, I'm not going to buy it, which leads to job losses, and you can't have that. Well, I'm sure you'd say not on my watch.
Matthew Pantelis.
Again, Matthew, you're spot on. Once again, we'll be investing in gas power generation.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
You could be a millionaire next week. The countdown is on. You have just 2 days to get your early bird tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery for your chance to win $1 million. Plus, your tickets stay in the drawers to win luxury cars, worldwide holidays, and the Scott Salisbury Grand Prize home at Glenelg. Life-changing prizes, life-changing impact. homelottery.com.au. Licence M14585.
Breaking news from Yes, your energy saving solutions. Thanks to mid-year updates to the SA Government's REPS initiative, you can qualify for a new air conditioner at our lowest price ever. Yes now offers eligible concession households a fully installed 2.6 kilowatt Rinnai system from only $299. Enjoy comfort all year round and join over 60,000 Adelaide homes that have said yes to lowering their energy bills. For terms and conditions on this limited offer from your energy saving solutions, visit yess.net.au.
Renovating or building and don't know where to start? Head to the Building Ideas Centre and bring your dreams to life. The newly established Building Ideas Centre is a huge showroom offering a mix of renovation and building products to ignite your imagination. Kitchens, bathrooms, heating and cooling, tiles and tapware, it's all here. Become inspired and talk with the professionals about your build. Whether you're budget conscious or going for gold, we can help you on your building journey. Find us at 279 Growth Street in the city.
The Honda mid-size SUV stock clearance is on now. Get 8 years warranty and 8 years roadside assist, plus a $1,000 Ampol fuel card on 2023 build Honda ZRV and CRVs. Visit us at Formula Honda to test drive today. Ampol fuel card offer valid until September 30. Different warranty applies for vehicles used for commercial purposes. T's and C's at honda.com.au. Hurry into Formula Honda. Find us at Glen Osmond Road, Glen Osmond, or North East Road, Modbury.
Join the great cover-up and get a Walco Guardian pool cover. Made right here in SA, a Walco Guardian pool cover will preserve your chemicals, keep your water clean, and you won't need to run your pump. Put your pool to bed for winter. Visit walco.com.au.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across My 24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
26 after 7, Stephen Rowe was back last night. I'll give you one guess to what he wanted to talk about. We'll hear from him in just a second, but first... Royal Show's just around the corner. We've got a family pass to give away. This has been fun giving these away. I think almost... to a person that we've given them away to people who are taking their grandkids.
Yeah.
I think every single one have been grandparents taking their grandkids thus far.
It's a great thing.
Yeah, what a nice thing to be able to do. 8223 0000. You just need to identify a sound of the show. I don't think any of them have been particularly sort of brain busters.
Well, yesterday was a barking dog.
Wasn't that hard at all? This one might be interesting, and I reckon grandparents will get this right, but some people might struggle with it. 8223 0000. Get calling now. We're going to give away that family pass right here and now to someone who can identify this sound. Now that's something I hear in my household probably 400 times a day.
Of course.
And it is making an appearance at the show this time around. Kieran, good morning to you.
Good morning, boys. How are we?
Yeah, good, thanks, Kieran. Did you hear the sound?
I did, yes. It was Bluey. Bluey ride.
It's certainly... Bluey is making an appearance at the Royal Show this year, which is why we'll be going along.
You got young kids, mate?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, he's 2 years old and he absolutely loved it.
I thought you were in that age bracket. Yeah. No, it's hard to avoid when you got toddlers.
Oh, I've heard that maybe 5-6 times a day, I reckon.
Because they're 7-minute episodes, so you just keep hearing it.
Oh, it's constant.
Yeah. No, Kieran, you're off to the Royal Show, mate. Congratulations to you. You can get tickets at theshow.com.au in Foodland, or be like Kieran and identify the sound of the show. All right, let's hear about Stephen Rowe, who, as he in his own words said, he spent 17 hours on an international flight coming up with a plan of how to fix the Adelaide Football Club. I think first he wanted to sort of set the scene of what he thinks of the current Adelaide Football Club.
So Crows fans sit here with me today, a little frustrated, a little emotional, which I am, a little disappointed, certainly disillusioned, and I think anger's crept in. I'll replay what I said round 13 when we lost that game to Richmond, and it was an emotional outburst from me after the game. But replay it now, it's more relevant today than it was back then. And here's the thing, nothing's changed. So my club today is irrelevant, I think, as a footy power. It should be a club with the money and the resource and the support that's in the top 8 all the time. I'd expect that. Sydney can do it. Geelong can do it. Your club's done it. And as much as you've got your fans knocking them, you do it. And I think we are a draft and a trade away from being a football joke. Wow. Because if we go in with the same team, we're going to get the same result. If we don't get this right with the same team, there will be a lot of fans more than angry.
Yeah. Rowie sounded angry. Lots of fans are angry. But, you know, when you're in the middle of your club's least successful period ever, people are going to be angry. That's the nature of a passionate... That's how sport works.
100%.
Look at any sporting code anywhere in the world. Fans, if at your lowest ebb, you're going to be upset.
Yeah.
And you pay your membership, and I think it's part of your right. That's what you want. You'd like to see things improve.
He's right, though. How important are the next 3 months for that club?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Someone in Victoria said Adelaide's basically the new St Kilda.
Well, they won last week.
They did get a win. No, do you reckon it was a compliment?
It's all about the SANFL, Will, as far as I'm concerned. Bring on Sunday.
5AA News Time. We'll be back with Sean Fuster as we go around the courts next.
Hi, Brady Bitt here from Mawson Lakes Mazda. There's a lot to like about Mawson Lakes Mazda. They'll take care of you with next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash. and your breakfast or lunch is on them. Your car gets the love too, with their state-of-the-art service centre brimming with top-trained mechanics. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, they'll look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
17 with showers easing today. With the 7:30 news, I'm Jess Adamson.
Physio, Pilates, hydro, massage, podiatry and exercise classes. Physio Extras Holistic Care. PhysioExtra.com.
2 young car thieves were arrested at Salisbury North last night. A white Toyota Camry was stolen from a Smithfield home around 8 p.m. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says it was spotted in Salisbury North an hour later.
Officers managed to successfully spike all 4 tyres of the car in Rolleston Avenue, and that's where the drivers tried to run off, but Polair was overhead at that point with a spotlight and police were able to locate him. So we had a 16-year-old boy from Smithfield. He was arrested, along with another boy who was also located in a rear yard nearby.
The boys will appear in the youth court today, charged with illegal use of a motor vehicle and breach of bail. A man's been reported for drink driving at Regency Park after abandoning his vehicle in the middle lane of South Road. Police were called at 12:30 this morning after reports the driver was doing a U-turn on South Road, which caused the tyres to puncture when he hit the curb. The 27-year-old from Croydon blew .152, 3 times the legal limit. He'll face court in October. New nation-leading vape and tobacco laws will be introduced to state parliament today. The legislation will significantly toughen controls and penalties for illicit supply and use of the products. Health Minister Chris Picton says it'll also ban the sale of e-cigarettes to minors, even by prescription.
These laws will have penalties of up to $1.5 million. These will be the toughest laws of any state or territory in the country. And we need to do this because we need to tackle these health issues right now. Unfortunately, we're seeing a huge number of young people taking up vaping in the community, and that's doubled just in the past year.
The Prime Minister has arrived in Tonga for the Pacific Islands Forum. The 3-day meeting will focus on security, climate change, health and education. The US and China will sit on the sidelines of the meeting. Anthony Albanese says Australia has a seat at the table, given we're a major part of the Pacific region.
We're part of the Pacific family, and over the next couple of days we'll be talking about our common interests, how we work together to combat climate change, for economic development and for peace and security in our region.
Melbourne researchers are developing drones that could potentially deliver medals to athletes and food to spectators at the Brisbane Olympic and Paralympic Games. Swinburne's Innovation Research Hub is also working with Australia Post, developing drones that can deliver mail and parcels. It's estimated up to 90% of Australians are waking up feeling tired, despite having up to 7 or 8 hours sleep a night. The IKEA study on sleeping habits also found we are a nation of side sleepers. Just 11% of people sleep on their back and another 8% on their stomach. The survey also found the majority of us need complete silence to sleep. 2 people have been killed during a maintenance check of a Boeing plane in Atlanta, Georgia. US correspondent Alison Petrowski.
A tyre was being removed from the Delta Boeing 757-200 aircraft during scheduled maintenance when it exploded, killing 2 staff members and seriously injuring a third. Delta has issued a statement saying the Delta family is heartbroken at the loss and grateful for the quick action of first responders and medical teams on site. The plane had last travelled from Las Vegas to Atlanta on Sunday evening. It's not clear what caused the explosion. The airline says it is working with local authorities and a full investigation will be conducted.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Jess. Port Adelaide is going to have to find a way to replace defender Kane Farrell after scans revealed a high-grade hamstring strain that means he'll miss the rest of the season. It comes after news fellow defender Dan Houston is also out, of course, through suspension. Coach Ken Hinkley admitting it will be tough, but they have to move on.
We've definitely missed them. I mean, they're both very, very good players, but there's not a side in the comp that won't get to this stage of the year and haven't got some players missing. We we've got Sam Powell-Pepper, who's also out of our club and team at the moment of an ACL injury. So, I look at Brisbane with Fags. He's got 4 or 5 ACL injuries he'd love to have available. So we all have our challenges.
Audio there, thanks to Fox Footy. Let's go to tennis, and Aussie Alex de Minaur is now in for a real fight in his opening round match at the US Open. That's against American Marcus Giron. Now, de Minaur won the opening couple of sets, but he lost the third, and games are now on serve in the fourth, but he's currently facing a break point. Earlier, South Aussie Thanasi Kokkinakis had a fabulous 4-set win against 11th seed Stefanos Tsitsipas, while Tristan Schoolkate came from 2 sets down to beat Japan's Taro Daniel. But it wasn't so good for the Aussie women, with Arena Rodionova, Daria Saville, Taylor Preston and Destiny Ayava all losing. To soccer now, Adelaide United's through to the quarter-finals of the Australia Cup competition following a hard-fought 3-2 win against WA side Olympic Kingsway. The Reds getting things going early thanks to a goal from Austin Aobi.
Enters the box, Madania draws a sharp save, still on, Ayubi barrels it home, and the 3-time Cup champions Adelaide United strike first here in Perth.
Yeah, great result. That audio thanks to 10. Now the Reds will next host the Western Sydney Wanderers as they look to advance to the semi-finals of the competition. Jess, that is the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tommy. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Aged 45 to 49, search Australian Government free bowel screening kit and order yours today.
Morning there. Roads aren't looking too bad for the running today. However, do have lights on the blink at Port Adelaide from an earlier collision. Frederick Road near Old Port Road. A little slow at the moment. Anzac Highway, Ashford, getting busy. South Road through Edwardstown. That's for those ongoing works. There's speeds at 40 in a couple of spots. And we've got a couple of cameras too. Look out for those this morning. Days Road, Croydon Park. And in the hills too, Green Hill Road at Uradler. Honda's mid-size SUV clearance is now on. Get 8 years warranty and roadside assist plus a $1,000 fuel card on 23 built Honda ZRV and CRVs. Hurry now, T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
17 with showers easing today. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and 23. Showers windy and 18 for Friday. Right now, it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Imagine having to do your washing with a washboard. Just you, a giant pile of dirty clothes and a lot of elbow grease. Or imagine having to start a fire for the simplest things, like bathing, cooking or keeping warm. Thankfully, these activities can stay in our imagination because appliances make our lives easy, and Adelaide Appliance Gallery makes it even easier. Like right now, you could save up to $1,500 on a Smeg Victoria cooker. Make your life easier with Adelaide Appliance Gallery, Paynham Road, St Peters.
Introducing the all-new Volvo electric excavator. It's quiet and has no emissions or exhaust, so it's perfect for confined spaces. The battery has 48 volts and it's got 0 tail swing radius, whatever that means. 2.7 tonnes of brilliant bright yellow, but it's green environmentally, but it's yellow, quite literally. Inquire today through Warren Mining for all your electric excavation needs, but also all your construction equipment needs, because Warren Mining do it all.
Now listen up, family. When you think about it, Father's Day is all about one thing, being thankful for nuts. And you can guarantee your dad will be thankful for his nuts when you gift him some of South Australia's own Charlesworth nuts.
If you're stuck for Father's Day gift ideas, well, no worries. Charlesworth nuts have over 50 gift hampers, baskets and bags to choose from, bursting with Charlesworth's delicious selection of nuts, fruits and chocolates.
So show your dad, husband or grandfather that you know him best by picking one that he'll go nuts for. Check out the options and shop online or come and visit one of their 12 family-owned stores.
Why Charlesworth? Because fresh nuts taste better, and they've proved it for 90 years. Visit charlesworthnuts.com.au.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across My 24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
21 to 8 gave away the show tickets a moment ago. Bluey was the sound of the show this year, Bluey making an appearance. On the Dutton's text line, someone says, how about the Bluey cricket episode? I choke up every time. It's a masterpiece. That episode is the best 7 minutes of storytelling I've seen in the last, I don't know, decade of television. It is absolutely brilliant.
It's a fantastic...
And it is, I don't know, it's a tearjerker. It's terrific. Yeah. Lots of great texts coming in. Some of them have questions for our next guest, Sean Fuster, so let's get to it.
It's time to go around the courts with Sean Fuster on 5AA Breakfast.
Great to have him in the studio. You can watch along on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. Someone actually mentioned on the text line, Sean, starting off with a question, something a little bit different.
Why not?
How does an average Joe, how does a normal member of the public find out the outcome of a court case?
You call the court's registry, 8204 2444.
Have to call? You can't, there's no online
There's no online way of doing it. No, you have to call, and under South Australia's privacy laws, you have to know the name of the individual, their age of date of birth or at date of birth, their suburb of residence, and what charges they were actually involved with.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you can't just go, was there a Paddy Smith
No,
Smart?
Deliberately to stop that sort of thing.
Yeah, right.
Many, many years ago, a prominent person who shall remain unnamed for reasons got very upset about the fact that a journalist managed to do that and find out their past history with the courts. And as a result of that prominent person's upset, the rules were changed and put in like this, which, when you think about it, makes good sense given the sorts of information that courts are actually privy to.
Now you got me intrigued.
I'll tell you off air. I'll tell you off air.
You can't do that. Is it illegal to say?
No, I just don't want the person coming after it.
Yeah, I reckon I can guess who it is now. Someone with a colourful criminal past.
Let's move on before David incriminates everyone.
Senor Pembo.
Well, we might have a chuckle now because I don't think we're going to, over the course of discussing the very confronting case that you've been covering very well, Sean.
Look, confronting is putting it lightly. I've been doing this a very long time. There are very few times that one case I cover gets under my skin when I haven't had a lot of exposure to it. You know, quite often when you get to know victims and survivors, you take on that very personal aspect of the case, and we talk about that a lot on Just Lawful. Yesterday was the first time I covered the case of former Redlegs player Matthew Vidic, and the words of Julia Hodge, his ex-wife, describing what she went through. You can hear it in my voice now. That was a hard listen. That was a very, very hard listen. We've had domestic violence cases before. We will sadly continue to have domestic violence cases because it does not seem like what's being done to address this epidemic is actually working. Julia Hodge's case, she was twice in the space of weeks told by her husband, "I'm going to burn you alive," while he was holding various jerry cans full of petrol, and in one case flicking a lighter. The first time she was saved by their 9-year-old daughter, who intervened and said, "Dad, just go to bed, just let Mum go to bed." The second time the kids weren't there, and she had to escape. And this was just a pattern of abuse that Julia had suffered. She talked about the sorts of things that Vidic used to say to her, like, "If I can't keep you through love, I'll keep you through fear." Just horrific stuff. And there are some people out there that are going to say, well, you know, she wasn't hurt. Yes, she was. Psychologically, emotionally, that family is going to carry the scars of this for a lifetime. Because tell me anything in the world that deserves being burned alive. You know, that is the most inhumane form of death I can think of, and it is the most inhumane threat I can think of, especially to someone that's supposed to be the love of your life, someone that is the mother of your children, someone you are sworn to protect at all costs.
The thing that worries me about this, though, Sean, and like the nature of the threats and just aberrant and evil stuff, and we can say that because he's pleaded guilty to all of these aggravated counts of threatening to cause harm. So he's threatened to kill the family dog. He stole a passport to prevent her from competing overseas. After that, when he was taken into custody, he's repeatedly calling her from prison.
That one worries me in particular. The idea that he's still getting in touch with her despite everything and everyone saying, "Leave her alone, you're charged now."
But with this pattern of escalating, controlling, threatening behaviour, does this guy have an out because he didn't physically hurt her?
Thankfully, nobody in court was looking for one yesterday. What they were looking for instead was to say, well, he's already been inside since the second incident back in June of 2023, so he's done his time. He should be allowed out now on home detention, allowed to serve the rest of his sentence on home detention. So it's not he deserves an out because there was no physical violence, but because there was no physical violence, the time served is enough. It's not quite what you're saying, but it's in the same vein. And obviously Ms. Hodge is saying, look, we are still in fear. We are still in deep fear. She said, I'm in fear standing here giving my victim impact statement today because he's watching me on the video screen and I don't know whether he's going to interpret everything I've said as a betrayal and therefore reason to come after me for vengeance.
But it feels like the lead up to all of these cases you read about where, you know, a woman and her kids get killed in the street and then you get the whole backstory.
That's right.
Well, this is the backstory without the conclusion. But for
100%.
her, how's her life look if he does get out on home detention?
She said that she called 1-800-RESPECT, fantastic group, not criticising them at all, and their advice to her was her best bet was to pack up her life and move interstate. That's the only way she'd ever be safe.
God,
that can't be the
how it
answer.
works.
That cannot be the answer.
So you lose your support network, you've got your kids at primary school, they
She's
lose
a
their circle
teacher,
of friends.
she's a mother, she's a career woman, she's a champion marathon runner, and she's supposed to pack up her life and move away because, in the words of his counsel, he was upset one night because he got told off for not attending a family dinner. That's why he popped off one night. And the other night he thought that they were going to be intimate when they got home, and Julia said, I'm going to bed. And that was the other reason.
These aren't normal triggers.
This entitled attitude of, I'm the man, I should get what I want, you're spending too much time doing your own thing. Just loser behaviour.
So-
Absolute loser behaviour.
Taking a step back and then looking at, we talk about the role of courts, and sometimes people begrudge this role, the process of incarceration as being about rehabilitation, fixing people. It's not just about the punishment.
That's right.
There's a fixing people up part of it. If you have demonstrated behaviour that would suggest you haven't been fixed up, and I can't imagine any more dramatic example of that than ringing up and making threats from prison, is there no mechanism by which you can say, well, you know what, maybe the job of the incarceration component hasn't been completed?
To sound like Daniel for a minute, here's the thing. A lot of the rehabilitation programs aren't available until you're on parole.
Well, that would seem to be a flaw in the business model.
So the court has now the concept, and Defence Counsel put this, you either have the opportunity to release a man into rehabilitation and take the risk that he might do something while he's on home detention, or you leave him in prison, incarcerated with no access to rehabilitation, and then the day comes, much like Mark Ray Hayden, where it's all over, the sentence is done, and you have to release him with no supervision, no nothing. So they're saying, let him serve the rest on home detention. Judge Ralph Sulio said, look, I'll order a home detention report, sure, but I don't want to give you any false hope, because my tentative view right now, and I'm going to go away and listen to... By the way, Julia was able to record the second incident on her phone. So Judge Sulio is going to go away and listen to the actual words, the way they were said. That entire incident is going to be heard by him audio. He said, I'm going to go away and listen to that. My tentative view right now is you need a long period of parole where you are closely monitored at all times. Not home detention, I'm talking total monitoring, so that we know you are safe before you go anywhere. But that still means he won't be inside. Still means he'll be living in the community under restrictions.
Everyone's uncomfortable, I think, with an outcome like that because of what David said, because there's just too many recent examples with that risk. Well, we're not imagining a circumstance here that's never occurred.
We are not. This is
the opposite. It occurs more than once a week.
Far more times than we get to report. That's for sure. You know, this is exactly the preamble, and there are possibly people out there right now that are hearing this and are really, really scared for themselves in their own situations. And I can only say that there is help available, but we understand how difficult it is to access this help. I mean, when Julia tried to call 000, Vidic took her phone from her, and she had to watch her smartwatch signalling to say that AAA was trying to call her back. These are the levels of coercive control that these absolute losers go to, and it leaves women terrified for understandable reasons. So it's completely asinine to say all I can do is hope that people find help, because help is out there, but what do we do? How do we actually address this? How do we meaningfully address this?
Yeah, it's full on.
Yeah, it is, and it doesn't feel like we've answered that question particularly well as a society at this point in time.
Not at all.
Brilliant, Sean. Absolutely fascinating. Great insight. Thank you. Just lawful this weekend.
Sunday night, we're back after a week's break due to the football with the second half of our interview with Graham and Lauren Ralph, talking about their daughter/sister Abigail, whose name is still mentioned every time there's a death by dangerous driving case in this state, because her case didn't set the benchmark, but kind of has.
And now, because you're famously a massive football fan, I just wanted to tell you too, there'll be no more Sundays games, so you're free from this point on.
There you go.
For a long period of time.
So I have to keep working.
You have to keep working.
Right.
Yeah, I just knew. Not everyone would think to tell you that, but I just thought, I know you well enough, Sean.
I'm happy.
Your show will not be interrupted again.
That part I'm
at
happy
least
about.
for about 7 months.
Nice.
Great to have you in.
Thanks, guys.
Season starts in April.
Let's check traffic. Say no to the nursing home. Choose Alpha Support at home.
Thanks, Will. Roads are looking pretty good for the run-in today. Seeing a few delays on the freeway near Harndorf. Also getting busy in the usual spots. South Road at Carrouta Park. Got a twisted traffic light at Port Adelaide to look out for. It's from earlier crash today. Frederick Road near Oral Port Road. And squeeze at Footy at Parkside, Glen Osmond Road near John Street. Got a camera to Addison Road at Pennington. Power up Android on Telstra. Supercharge your creativity with Google AI on Android. With Australia's best mobile network. Search Telstra Android deals. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift.
Deliver more with Toyota, the world's #1 forklift brand. Choose from a great range including pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts, right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Get a Toyota forklift.
Everybody knows Right Price are the heating and cooling experts. So imagine how much you can save when they join forces with EcoVantage, the incentive experts. Together with Right Price, EcoVantage will help you source all the government incentives you're entitled to when it comes to heating and cooling your home, including energy-efficient heat pump hot water systems. Right Price and EcoVantage, the best of both worlds when it comes to heating, cooling and government incentives.
Pressure washing your entire home, driveway, pavers, retaining walls and windows is way easier than you think, but not if you do it yourself. Forget that. Call Freshfront, Adelaide's #1 rated pressure cleaning company, making tired homes and businesses look new again. Freshfront are trained to clean just about every surface safely, so no damage. Freshfront work harder than anyone to ensure your satisfaction or your money back. Visit freshfront.com.au. Looks like new.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. For fixed price services, call Precise.
For a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Artificial intelligence is the next big game changer, and it's at the heart of Microsoft's latest suite of Surface products. Microsoft's AI called Copilot Plus will help navigate your tasks. It doesn't just make things easier or predict what's next. It can truly transform your daily life. It handles the little things so you can focus on what really matters. The Surface laptops feature a touchscreen, ample memory, all-day battery life, and AI-enhanced capabilities to improve your productivity. Experience the best combination of Copilot Plus with the Surface laptop, with pricing starting from $1,899. Act now and you'll receive a bonus $100 Harvey Norman gift card with any Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you. 5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across My 24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast. Give us the tea, Adelaide.
It is a Wednesday, so we await your rumours. We've got an excellent Smeg appliance to give away. They live permanently with us in the studio now on the Food Lad, so it makes Facebook and YouTube live stream a permanent reminder of their excellence.
Looks a bit like the Adelaide Appliance Gallery in here, doesn't it?
It does a little bit, like a
Only
miniature
without the
version.
service.
Or the expertise.
Yeah, that's right.
Just a couple of the products. If you're building or renovating, your first choice should be visiting the Smeg showroom at Deputy Distributors. Taste the difference with Smeg. If you've got a rumour for us, big or small, you can remain totally anonymous. 8223 0000 is the number.
Now, if you work in a small business or are employed by a small business being the engine room of the economy, albeit an engine which has been struggling to fire on all cylinders over the last year or so, or particularly since all the way back to COVID, really, stick around because you'll be interested in our Breaking at 8.
Yep, looking forward to that. Some good news from out on the road this morning where petrol prices are at an actual sort of stomachable level. Sam Daddo reports for us out on the road. Thanks to Duttons. Morning, Sam.
Morning, David. Morning, Will. Yes, I'm down at the OTR at Hackney Road down at Hackney. Right now, prices have dropped to a 13th-month low. This is occurring due to a drop in the crude oil prices. Welcome relief, of course, during this cost of living pressures that everyone is under. So it's just not here at Hackney Road, though. Down south at the ex-convenience Goodwood Road at Panorama, that's $1.61.5. In the west, the Ampol Military Road down at Grange, $1.63.9. The OTR Port Wakefield Road, Powell out north, $1.62.9. Diesel's also on the cheap side as well. The ex-convenience Main North Road, Jeps Cross, that's at $1.74.5. Now, it's just not us boys around the country is also getting some relief as well. In Sydney, they've seen lows of $1.61. Melbourne's currently at $1.64. Brisbane around about $1.65. But if you're down in Hobart, you are suffering the worst right now. $1.75 around that for your unleaded. So right now, the Hackney Road OTR, $1.59.9. It's had a steady stream of traffic so far, but everyone, if you're in your cars, fill up now for sure.
Yeah, it is. It is the subject to the international situation with the oil barrel price. I was looking at it earlier this morning, and essentially, whether you use West Texas or Brent crude or whatever benchmark you want to go by, it's about they're all pretty much a 12-month low. So the last time we had it this low was about 12 months ago, and then we have that. So just to give you some sense, you're talking $75 a barrel for West Texas crude. It was up to 120-ish during the COVID period when we had the fuel excise halved.
I won petrol lotto yesterday. I was on my way to see my accountant to do my tax for the last financial year, and the little light came on, said you have 22 kilometres worth of petrol left. So I pulled in, and I'd filled it up, and I looked at the price, and I thought, that can't be right. There must be an airlock in the tank or something. So I put the thing in. It was like $70, and I went, hang on. And I looked, it was like $1.60. And I was like, you beauty!
Yeah, that's a good feeling.
How's this, though? I wrote these numbers down, because this is just staggering, I reckon. And I only know this from sitting down with the accountant. So in the previous financial year, I paid $7,651.03 to the good people at AGL for my power. $7,651. That's in the 22-23 financial year. In the 23-24 financial year, I paid $9,503.88. That's an increase just shy of $2,000 in 1 year. 24% increase. That is just absurd, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when every element of your life, it's not one out of the box. That's gone up. Insurance goes up. Grocery bills have gone up.
Insurance? Well, there's a thing I used to have, I'm about to get rid of it, called income protection insurance. And it's in the event that you get it cleaned up by a car or something and your family don't have the means, and with 4 kids I thought we'll do the right thing and get it. That is gone because the premiums for that went from $21,000 the year before to $30,000.
Which was a staggering amount of money.
That's like an entry-level basic job. The payment for that is like cleaning plates in a pub or something.
Yeah.
Like it's just the whole at every level of the spectrum. It's just become absurd.
Fuel, though, is one part of the equation that is good news this morning. Members save on RAA Solar. RAA Innovation Proprietary Limited, SA Building Licence number 319335.
I'll grab a few people I know. We'll mark out some places to go. There's no invitation, just a destination, and that's the best freedom I know. Jump in the J-Coat. Jump in the J-Coat. Yeah, that's the best freedom I know.
It all started in the back shed. Maybe it started early. Or late. Either way, the Olympic Industry sale means there's no need to wait. With big savings on our entire range of SA engineered sheds, garages, carports and verandas, you can afford to start something big, tough, or tasty in your own backyard. Start something with the Olympic Industry sale. On now.
The critical part of any healthcare is the care. It's about being by your side when you and your loved ones need us most. Through late night fevers, through the rough and tumble of weekend sports, through weird rashes, mystery aches, and knowing in your heart that something's not quite right. from surgery to rehabilitation. Through emergencies, mental illness, chronic diseases, and for better health. Your doctor cares. Let's take care of them too. Authorised by Dr. David Pope, Sasmoa, Adelaide.
Right Price, Adelaide's best in heating and cooling, has risen to new heights. Literally, Right Price are now your roofing people too. Same exceptional service, value and quality. From total roof replacement, including tile roof installation, to tile roof repairs, cleaning and painting. And for peace of mind, a rock solid quote. So the only surprise you'll get is how magnificent your roof and home looks. Do it right. Visit rightpriceroofing.com.au.
You can get your roof right at Right Price.
Local news and information first. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
17 with showers easing today. With the 8 o'clock news, I'm Jess Adamson.
Physio Extra for Locomat robotic technology treating stroke, cerebral palsy, brain and spinal cord injuries. Visit physioextra.com.
A man's been arrested for drink driving at Regency Park. Just after midnight, police received a report a Holden sedan had mounted the curb on South Road, causing the tyres to puncture. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says the driver walked off, leaving the car in the middle lane.
We had some witnesses follow the driver and we've located him on Tominga Avenue. So we've got a 27-year-old man from Croydon. He was arrested and charged with drink driving after recording a reading of 0.152, so 3 times the legal limit. He's been bailed to appear in court in October.
2 boys will face court today, charged with stealing a car at Smithfield overnight. Police spotted the stolen Toyota Camry just after 9 in Salisbury North and called in Pol Air to help search. They managed to spike the vehicle's tyres in Rollston Avenue, where the driver tried to make a run for it. The 16-year-old from Smithfield was arrested and charged with aggravated robbery, illegal use of a motor vehicle and breach of bail. A 14-year-old from Salisbury North was found in a nearby backyard. He's also been charged with illegal use and breach of bail. The CFMEU is flagging more protests across the country after the union's construction arm was placed into administration. Jack Hahn reports.
Union heavyweights are calling for maritime union members to walk off the wharves and stand in solidarity with the CMFEU during the next nationwide rally. Sacked leaders of the construction arm of the union are threatening to mount a High Court challenge in the coming days in a bid to reverse the government-triggered administration. Angry members rallied around the country calling for the absolute destruction of the Labor Party, labelling ALP politicians as, quote, rats and traitors, and declaring that Anthony Albanese will be gone at the next election.
Farmers from across the country will rally in the nation's capital next month, calling on politicians to listen to them, not anti-farming activists, when making decisions about agricultural policies. A ban on live sheep exports, proposed biosecurity taxes and water buybacks are among their top concerns. National Farmers Federation President David Johinke says these new laws have been shaped by activism, not by the industry.
We're putting all of government on notice that this has to change, that farmers need to be front and centre if they want to have a food industry, if we want to have quality food going forward, if we want to have a future for regional areas, that they've got to stand up and listen to us.
Village Roadshow Theme Parks is doing its best to reassure holidaymakers its rides are safe despite a second incident in a week. 13 people were trapped for over an hour on the Vortex ride at SeaWorld on the Gold Coast yesterday afternoon. It comes less than a week after dozens of riders were evacuated from a roller coaster at the theme park. 2 airline staff have been killed in the US while carrying out a maintenance check on a Boeing jet in Atlanta. A third worker was also injured when a tyre on the jet exploded inside the maintenance hangar. Investigations are underway. The Israeli military says it's rescued a hostage from the South Gaza Strip who spent more than 10 months in captivity. Qaid Farhan al-Qaidi was working as a security guard at a warehouse when he was kidnapped by Hamas. His brother says he's delighted to have him back.
It's difficult to explain how it feels. It's better than having a newborn. We thank God and we thank everyone and hope to see him healthy. We're very happy, very happy.
Now turning to 5AA Sports.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Jess. The exit meetings will continue at West Lakes this morning as the fallout continues from their disappointing finish to the season. The Crows have been on record saying they expect to be very aggressive during the upcoming trade period. Meantime, Port Adelaide's players will train this morning ahead of their qualifying final next Thursday night. The Power will be without defender Kane Farrell for the rest of the season with a hamstring strain. Coach Ken Hinckley telling Fox Footy they're going to use the experience of previous years to help them.
But we do know that our history suggests we have been through a fair bit to get to this stage, and we understand what comes in the next little bit, so that can't hurt you. But the reality is it won't matter once the siren goes. We just have to get out there and do our business.
Meantime, St Kilda has delisted 4 players, including veteran ruckman Tom Campbell and former Power defender Riley Bonner. To tennis now, South Aussie Thanasi Kokkinakis has caused a major boil-over at the US Open. The Aussie knocking out 11th seed Stefanos Tsitsipas in 4 sets. The world number 84 says it's one of the highlights of his career.
My best win at a Grand Slam, for sure. A lot of hard work's gone into it, staying positive and just competing my nuts off, really, yeah.
Fabulous result that. Adelaide United has held on for a hard-fought 3-2 win against Perth side Olympic Kingsway to advance to the quarterfinals of the Australia Cup competition. The result means they'll now host the Western Sydney Wanderers in their quarterfinal clash. Meantime, plenty of League Cup action this morning with Leicester and Crystal Palace among the EPL sides to move through their second-round matches with comfortable wins. And former Supercars champion Mark Winterbottom is in limbo after being dumped by Team 18. They've signed Anton De Pasquale to a 3-year deal. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Aged 45 to 49, search Australian Government free bowel screening kit and order yours today.
Roads looking pretty good for the run-in today. Busy in the usual spots this morning. At Green Hill Road at the Unley Road intersection. Also South Road at Karata Park, quite busy. And got lights on the blink this morning at Port Adelaide. That's from an earlier crash. Frederick Road near Old Port Road. Goodwood Road slow too. Goodwood Road near Railway Terrace South with early morning cameras. Port Wakefield Road, Jeps Cross. And Rosedale Avenue at Blair Athol. Check out what's fresh at your local IGA this week. Australian beef Scotch fillet steak, $40.50 per kilo. Participating IGA stores until September 3 or while stocks last. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
17 with showers easing today, partly cloudy and 23 tomorrow. Showers, windy and 18 for Friday. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Stay informed, get involved. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across My 24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 after 8, we apologise to anyone who saw a swerving car or heard the sound of people choking on their Weet-Bix, but there was a bit of response to David revealing how much he pays for power just before 8 o'clock.
It's coming down now because of the solar that I put in.
That's right, but $9,000 for electricity. Someone here on the Duttons text line says, David, are you running a grow house?
No.
That's an extraordinary
just in case we know he's a keen listener to the program, Grant Stevens. I'm happy to show you the contents of my shed.
It's very much just a money out operation.
We haven't covered the granny flat with black plastic in the hope that the 12 plant rule is still in operation here in South Australia. No crops out the back. It's
someone here rather tongue-in-cheek says, David, you must feel great, though, because you're saving the planet.
Well, I am now. I wasn't before.
Well, that's true.
It's coming down, thanks to NRG Solar. But, yes, not a moment too soon.
We've got a $100 Charlesworth hamper to give away this hour. We'll do it with the best or worst dad joke we hear. That's coming up very, very shortly. But first, it's Breaking at 8.
Now, we're excited about today's Breaking at 8 because we have a special guest here who has come all the way from Canberra. He's somebody that I used to know when I worked in the press gallery when he was the small business minister in the Howard government. Bruce Bilson, former Victorian MP who is now effectively Australia's small business czar as the small business and family enterprise ombudsman. travels the country making representations on behalf of small business. Bruce, it's so good having you in the studio, mate, and good to see you after so many years.
David, fab to see you. You're looking svelte, I might say. I mean, incredibly. I mean, he's trimmed down. Am I not able to qualify for the dad joke? Because on the flight over, one of the flight attendants came up and said, "Look, I hope you're having a great flight. Would you care for an orange juice?" And I said, "Look, if it would help them feel better, sure, I'll..." Come on.
You're in the running to win the hamper, Bruce.
Anyway, not why I'm here. I'm here championing the cause of small and family businesses. Must say, though, the energy conversation is triggering. I'll be in counselling after you reminding me. Well, it's hard because, I mean, I've been with a particular energy company, I shouldn't mention, Origin, for about 30 years, and even, I couldn't afford the photovoltaic system, laying the money out for the solar in one, so I had it paid for by installments through my energy bill. I've been with them about 30 years, and all of a sudden my energy bill went through the roof. And I said, "What's going on here?" And they said, "Oh, that good deal, well, it expired. And you should have known that, and you should have got on your bike and got onto us to find a better deal, because we're taking $1,000 off you more than we should, and we know that, but you're supposed to do something about it." I said, "Oh, it's a me problem, is it? You've changed the deal." I'm like, ridiculous. But a big lesson for your listeners, particularly small and family businesses: read the bills carefully. There's now a duty to disclose if there's a cheaper plan around, and even go to some of those comparison websites. Or
learn Swahili so you can understand the bills.
Well,
I mean, that's part of the problem, transparency, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's 3 pages and it covers just about everything. And I was critical of my golf handicap as well, and I was grateful for the feedback. But, it was just... And I sit there and I think, you've had stories on the front page of the Advertiser about just what a key pressure point this is, because it's a vital input cost. If you're a dairy farmer, you've got to heat the water, keep the cows healthy, the system's clean. If you've got refrigeration in your system, even if you're running a petrol station, man, the amount of energy that's needed to keep the forecourt lit up and the machines running, energy is a big unavoidable input cost, and it's one of the many cost pressures small and family businesses in SA are facing right now.
So, Bruce, the newsiness of part of your visit to Adelaide, we want to really get into this, the 3G shutdown, because I wasn't aware the extent to which small business is exposed to genuine risks to their operations as a result of the phasing out of 3G. What are the sort of challenges and threats that they are looking at the moment?
Well, there's still probably Adelaide Oval by 2 number of people carrying 3G phones around. And so the telcos are working really hard to get people to say, hey, take an action. And even for people that are in a disadvantaged situation, even some of the telcos are offering fantastic deals to upgrade to a newer handset. That's fine, but you can probably see on your phone a little symbol in the corner telling you it's 3G. And for those that are a bit tricky, some 4G phones, when you go to dial an emergency service, flip over to 3G, but there's a way of checking that out as well. That's probably more visible, and even in that group of users, not everyone's made the switch. What's less obvious, and what we're really concerned about, is where a 3G chip quietly sits behind a piece of kit or technology that you focus on the functioning of the technology, not what the wireless link is that drives it, and that can be a 3G, and that can be anything from security systems, remote monitoring on farming properties, opening gates, checking water levels, even those black pads you wave your card at to go and pay to get out of a car park. Those often have a 3G chip behind them, and talking to the providers, the suppliers of that equipment, not everyone's made the changeover.
What about FBOS machines?
Yeah, well, that's part of it. That's one of them. And if you and I were down at the Lucendale, field days selling miniature goats, and we're pretty happy about that. We've got a side hustle to pay for our energy bills. And we got an old piece of kit. It may well be powered by 3G. So there's been quite an effort to say to people, look, it might not be obvious, even as a surveyor, those total stations. I personally thought theodolites was a great word. But anyway, total stations that do surveying, they're 3G enabled as well. So there's quite a lot of this behind-the-scenes kit that we want people to check and really not become a casualty of the 3G cut-off and then find themselves wondering why a key part of their business isn't working.
There's another thing you're talking about at the moment, and I'm so glad you are, because it is a bugbear of mine as someone who does wave the card in front of bits of plastic from time to time, because I don't carry a wallet and cash around anymore, and that is this absolute rort that exists at the moment, where businesses are being made to pay some sort of transaction fee on account of what is now the most common transaction type, as though it's some sort of luxury, unique and new technology.
You said you cared. Show me you care.
I hate it. It drives me nuts.
Don't ask him in the studio.
Don't ask him about football, Bruce.
Frightening sight. The pupils have dilated. He's feeling real about this. He's up. He's about. He's
Tell me you
waving
can
his
fix
arm.
it, Bruce.
We're having a crack because this is something that is called least cost routing.
Yep.
And one of the things that happens in this world of tap and pay, or even card not present is the jargon. You buy something online and you put all your details through. Where is that payment routed? And where it's routed can have an enormous impact on the fees that are charged. And then for customers who hate paying surcharges, half the reason there's a surcharge there is because the poor merchant's getting stung with unnecessarily expensive fees. We think there's somewhere between $800 million and $1 billion in the economy every year spent needlessly on fees that weren't the lowest cost that's available. So what we've been doing is championing for the fact that if you're, if you've got a line of people wanting, what do we have as coffee in South Australia? Is it skinny, flat, white, or you look like a macchiato kind of guy? But, if there's a long queue of people,
Bruce.
you just want to get it in and out and pay and run. So it's good for the customer, good for the consumer. So they waive. But all of a sudden, they're getting routed through a payment mechanism that's going to cost the business more, and in some cases, they'll be passing that on. It's a bit like, if we all in this room owned a sat-nav company and we also owned a toll road, and it didn't matter where you wanted to go. You wanted to go to Salisbury, guess what? You go down the toll road. You want to go to Torrance, it's the toll road. And it's sort of like, hang on, who is this serving? This is not of interest and of use and of service to the merchant, certainly not helping the customer. So we've been saying, where's the transparency? Where is it we're saying, hey, why are you routing me down needlessly expensive channels? If you want a swanky card that's got extra benefits attached to it and it might come at a cost, well, the merchant should say, well, you want all those extra things? Well, you can pay that extra cost. That's a surcharge. But if it's just because you tap and go and it gets routed down a more expensive payment path, that's just not cool. And so we're working hard with the Reserve Bank to try and fix that, and that will let your eyes reverse their dilation.
You just made me a very happy man, Bruce.
Thank you. That's what I'm here to do.
Just to round it out, Bruce, we've got a lot of businesses, small businesses who are keen listeners of our show, a lot of people who work in small business. It's historically been the biggest employer here in South Australia. Over the last 12 months, and so many heartbreaking stories, particularly in hospitality, little cafes, but retail. So many parts of the smaller business economy are doing it tough. What's your assessment of the landscape at the moment?
Well, we've come up with this world-leading tool that actually does a pulse check. It's called the Pulse, and it looks at what's going on in the economy with actual data on economic conditions, a bit on the animal spirits, how people are feeling about what they're seeing, but then it looks at what are the decisions they're making, what are the choices they're contemplating, and frankly, the small business economy is about 25% worse off than where it was pre-COVID. Now, we're seeing this with higher insolvency rates. 46% of small businesses didn't make a profit in the last full tax year. For, the 1.5 million Australians, many of whom are here in South Australia, that are self-employed. Those self-employed people who, more than their full-time work is that self-employment, 3/4 take home less than average weekly wages. So there's no sloppy margins around. There's no easy rivers of gold. It's hard yards. And all of these cost of living pressures, which are rightly a topic of discussion, are input cost pressures for a business that they can't always pass on. It's squeezing them out, and it's really, in our eyes, there's lots of headwinds. Where's the wind in the sails? So we've been putting out some ideas around how to energise enterprise, because the average age of a business owner in South Australia is 50. Where's the next generation? Only 8% are under the age of 30.
Wow.
We need to make, entrepreneurship and running and owning a business and creating opportunities more attractive. And that's why we're up and about. So our role is in resolving disputes so you don't have to go to court. Policy and advocacy work, what can make the scene better for small and family businesses, and then we also reveal stories about what's going on in this vital part of our economy that I salute and honour every day, just as I know you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely we do. Well, look, it's been great having you in the studio,
It feels
Bruce.
a bit like a boy band, doesn't it? It's kind of weird. I mean, anyway, it's good to be here.
David's got the musical talent. He's
got
fronted
rhythm.
many bands.
He's got rhythm.
He does, yeah.
Oh my goodness. He's slimmed down,
Let's not
though.
talk about that. Hey, Bruce, great having you here, mate. And I understand you're off to Victor.
Yep,
send
Victor
our
Harbour.
regards to everybody down there, and we'll catch up with you next time you're in town.
Fab to
Great
be
having
in
you
your
on.
aura.
Cheers, mate.
He's in the running to win the hamper too, Bruce Bilson. All right, let's check traffic. We'll come back with more dad jokes and just. Oh, you got another one for us?
Yeah. Did you hear the one about the cliffhanger?
No. Bruce Bilson, ladies and gentlemen.
Try the veal.
He's here every Tuesday and Thursday.
Open mic night here at 5AA today.
Federal Small Business Commissioner. Your chance to try your own hand at a dad joke is coming up next to win that $100 Charlesworth hamper. Say no to the nursing home. Choose Alpha Supported Home.
Thanks, Will. At Port Adelaide, twisted traffic light getting fixed at the moment from nearly a crash, Frederick Road near Old Port Road. Reports of a smash at Brooklyn Park, Marion Road near Richmond Road causing a few delays. And Goodwood slowed Woolworths to Goodwood Road near Railway Terrace. Early morning cameras, Green Hill Road, Adelaide, in the hills, and got one Torrens Road at Croydon Park too. Look for the RAA sign at over 400 independent RAA approved repairers across SA. You know you can trust them because RAA do. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Stephen Rowe and Tim Jennifer.
Crows fans sit here with me today, a little frustrated, a little emotional, which I am, a little disappointed. So my club today is irrelevant, I think, as a footy power. It should be a club with the money and the resource and the support. It's in the top 8 all the time. I'd expect that.
The 5AA Sports Show.
I think we are a draft and a trade away from being a football joke.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
What's the quickest and most affordable way to add noticeable value and street appeal to your home? Easy. Fresh Front it. Fresh Front is Adelaide's #1 rated pressure cleaning company, making tired homes and businesses look new again. Pressure and soft washing your entire home, driveway, pavers, retaining walls and windows. Fresh Front do it all with care and expertise, plus a money-back satisfaction guarantee. Ask now for special winter rates. Visit freshfront.com.au. Looks like new.
If you're packing up your family to travel across the land will treat you different in a Dave Benson caravan. There's never any roadworks when you're driving Aussie made, and you'll always find a park that's nestled safely in the shade. The magpies will stop swooping, the kangaroos give way. You won't see a single mosquito at the end of each perfect day. And if the coppers pull you over, they won't wreck your plans when you tell them you bought Aussie made from Dave Benson Caravans.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. Get your new home or renovation back on budget with National Tiles' exclusive everyday value ranges. Yes, get your new home or renovation back on budget with National Tiles' exclusive everyday value ranges. I have personally been obsessed with offering exceptional National Tile value for over 45 years at all our stores across Australia, and promise you I'll relentlessly continue to do so. So rush into National Tiles now and save.
Now, what if I told you premium fine dining at home was easy? Impress your guests with Samtas Seafood Super Fresh South Australian King George whiting fillets. They're just $53.99 per kilo. And don't miss their large Aussie raw prawn cutlets, now only $37.99 a kilo. And Samtash freshly opened smoky bay oysters, and voila! Premium dining at home.
Voila! Seize the season's #1 best deal. This is amazing. I know how they do it at Samtas. South Aussie King prawns starting from just $13.99 a kilo. Perfect for any occasion.
Plus $60 fills your freezer with their unbeatable deal. 4 kilos of premium snap frozen seafood. Mix and match for just $60. You can choose from fillets of barramundi, snapper, dory or Atlantic salmon, each in 1 kilo packs. 4 kilos, still just $60.
It's the deal CPI forgot. You can feed your family for weeks with a 4 kilogram seafood deal for just $60. Crumb gar, prawn, salt and pepper squid, whitebait, Tassie Atlantic salmon cutlets, all to choose from.
Samtas Seafood's Adelaide's only factory direct premium seafood specialist, open 7 days a week. Samtas Seafoods, where unbeatable value meets uncompromised quality. Visit at 201 Richmond Road, Richmond.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across My 24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes after 8. The Small Business Commissioner got us started early on the dad jokes, but let's get some more now. 82230000. Sam and Lucy ready to take your call. We've got a $100 Charlesworth hamper to give away. If you're wanting to get Father's Day sorted, there's no better place to go than Charlesworth. 100%. And there's no easier way to do it than just sharing a dad joke with us and potentially winning it. Father's Day sorted. Let's get into it. Barry in Campbelltown is the first caller through. Morning to you, Barry.
Morning, guys.
Did you hear about the beekeeper up in the Adelaide Hills?
No.
He needed to get another 12 bees to complete his hive. He ordered them, the package arrived, he counted them, he had 13. He got a freebie.
There was a lot of setup there, Barry. Again, I'm not sure if that helps or hurts you. We'll find out at the end. Sandy, good morning.
Yes, when is a joke a dad joke?
Don't know.
When it becomes apparent.
Not bad, Sandy. Thank you. Let's go to Theberton. Sam, good morning.
Good morning, boys. Hey, why did Cinderella run off the football field?
Not sure.
She was running from the ball.
Thank you, Sam. Vic in Croydon. Just best be short, folks. The absence of laughs is what we're going for.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what
take
wins
it
you
as
this.
Take it as an accolade.
Yesterday, someone had a good joke and they didn't win. So that gives you some sense of what you're aiming for here. Vic, good morning.
Good morning, fellas. Okay, what type of dog can do real magic?
I'm not sure. A
Labracadabrador.
Thank you, Vic. Spoken with gusto as always. Gavin and O'Sullivan Beach, good morning.
Good morning. Dad would always tell us this joke when we were driving up Port Wakefield Road. This next town has the fastest growing population in Australia. It's Dublin.
That is good.
That's very good.
Because that's hyper-local.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
James in Collinswood, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Did you know that you can't run through a campsite? You can only ran because it's past tense.
That's a grammar joke. Don't mind that. I think that was in that plan. Robin, Christie's Beach, good morning.
Morning. Mine is, why did the woman blush?
Why?
The seaweed.
Okay, thank you, Robert.
Mm-hmm.
Bill and Ethelton, good morning.
Excellent.
Good morning, boys. Two ice creams were walking down Jetty Road at Glenelg, and they made it to the jetty. There was Daddy ice cream and baby ice cream, and as they got to the jetty, Daddy ice cream fell into the water, and baby ice cream yelled out, "Paddle, Pop!"
I think one more is all we can handle.
Yeah.
One more is all we can handle.
Stop.
Seth, good morning to you.
I went to buy a pair of camouflage pants, but I couldn't find any.
That sounds like a Steve Wright joke.
And delivered with aplomb too by Seth. I like that. There was no mucking about, just got right into it. Who do we like for the $100 Charlesworth hamper?
Look, I think just because you actually got the image in your head of being on Port Wakefield Road, and the thing I like about it is it's a dad joke made by Gav's dad.
Yes.
In situ, a joke that would not make sense anywhere east of Pinaroo. Gav, Dublin. It's Dublin.
Gav, you've got the Charlesworth hamper coming your way. $100 worth of Charlesworth nuts. Does your dad love his nuts? Then give Charlesworth nuts this Father's Day because fresh nuts taste better. 5AA News is coming up. How about this? The man himself, David Koch, live in the flesh. He'll be in the 5AA Breakfast studio next. You can watch along on the Foodland Sumacs Facebook and YouTube live stream.
It's a good thing this didn't happen last week. We might have had a melee in the studio. Hello, Koshi.
He's not laughing. Like he's not seriously laughing.
Koshi's smiling about everything at the moment.
Yeah,
frankly, it's making me sick.
Yeah, he's in a good place. I think that's why he's in.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, Koshi next.
There are more ways the Australian government will be supporting you. All taxpayers now get a tax cut. A $300 electricity bill credit will be given to households. And eligible small businesses will get a $325 credit. We're also making changes to student loans to reduce student debt. Find out about the supports available and how they benefit you at supportingaustralians.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Imagine having to do your washing with a washboard. Just you, a giant pile of dirty clothes and a lot of elbow grease. Or imagine having to start a fire for the simplest things, like bathing, cooking or keeping warm. Thankfully, these activities can stay in our imagination because appliances make our lives easy, and Adelaide Appliance Gallery makes it even easier. Like right now, you could save up to $1,500 on a Smeg Victoria cooker. Make your life easier with Adelaide Appliance Gallery. Paynham Road, St Peters.
Hi, Brady Bitt here from Mawson Lakes Mazda. There's a lot to like about Mawson Lakes Mazda, and it seems you like them too. The free rego and stamp duty offer was so huge, it's back. That's 12 months of rego and stamp duty. Plus, they'll also chuck in $500 worth of accessories. They tell me the red ones are going fast. Mawson Lakes Mazda. Free rego and stamp duty and $500 worth of extras on all new Mazdas until August 31st. Mawson Lakes Mazda. Just a short drive from the city.
Thanks to SolarHeart, smart savings are in the air and on your roof. By replacing your old water heater with a SolarHeart heat pump, you can create hot water out of thin air. And with our smart solar power systems and trusted SolarHeart warranties, you'll turn sunshine into savings for years to come. Right now, you'll also save $500 on any SolarHeart heat pump or solar power system 5 kilowatts and above. That's right, $500 off heat pumps and solar power. Get smart. Get SolarHeart. Terms and conditions apply.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
17 with showers easing today. With the 8:30 news, I'm Jess Adamson.
Physio, Pilates, hydro, massage, podiatry and exercise classes. Physio Extra's Holistic Care. PhysioExtra.com.
2 Australians have been killed while holidaying in Vietnam. The pair, aged 24 and 25, were staying in the city's southeastern suburbs. It's not yet clear how they died. The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade is providing consular assistance to family members. 2 boys aged 14 and 16 will face court today, charged with stealing a car at Smithfield last night. Police spotted the stolen vehicle just after 9 in Salisbury North and called in Pol Air to help search the area. They managed to spike the car's tyres in Ralston Avenue, where the driver tried to make a run for it. The 16-year-old Smithfield boy was arrested and charged with aggravated robbery, illegal use of a motor vehicle and breach of bail. The 14-year-old from Salisbury North was found in a nearby backyard. He's also been charged with illegal use and breach of bail. The state government is continuing its crackdown on illegal vapes and tobacco. Sweeping new laws are being introduced to state parliament today to increase penalties to a maximum $1.5 million for some breaches. Health Minister Chris Picton says there'll also be tougher controls, including banning supply of e-cigarettes to minors.
At the same time, we're also introducing a number of other changes that are being called for by public health advocates, including banning the sale of cigarettes through vending machines in pubs and clubs, and also making smoke-free areas around our bus stops and tram stops. These are important changes. They're important for public health.
The federal government and the opposition are being urged to strike a deal on aged care. The sector warns unless there are urgent changes, more facilities will be forced to close. There are concerns this could lead to a shortage of 21,000 beds. Aged and Community Care Providers Association Chief Executive Tom Simonson says there's no time to waste.
So we need to look at changing the way we fund aged care to ask people who have wealth to contribute a bit more towards their care. That makes us sustainable. It means we'll start building again, and you can have confidence that when you need aged care, we'll be here for you, which at the moment, I'm not 100% certain we can say that.
A first-of-its-kind blood test could revolutionise the way Alzheimer's disease is diagnosed. Researchers at Monash University are using sensor technology to detect ultra-low concentrations of disease markers in the blood within minutes. Until now, the only way to detect the condition has been through intrusive brain imaging. Scam protection technology is being expanded to better protect older Australians. The Commonwealth Bank and Telstra are reharnessing the security feature already being used to detect scammers who call mobile phones. The bank's head of fraud management, James Roberts, says the tech will also be used to protect landline users.
Data shows that more than 85% of residential landline services are registered to senior Australians, and that those aged over 65 lost more money to scammers in 2023 than any other age group.
The Israeli military has rescued a hostage kidnapped by Hamas during its attack in October. UK correspondent Jessica Millwood.
The 52-year-old father of 11 has been reunited with his family 326 days after he was taken hostage. Kayed Farhan El-Kaidi reportedly managed to escape from his captors before Israeli troops rescued him. The Bedouin Arab was flown back to Israel, where he's receiving medical treatment, but doctors say he's in a good condition. The exact location of the operation is being kept secret.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Good morning once again to Tom Wren.
And to you as well, Jess. Port Adelaide's players will hit the training track this morning as they prepare for Thursday week's qualifying final against Geelong. The Power should regain forward Charlie Dixon, who missed the clash against Fremantle because of a virus. He's told 5AA's driving with Dixon he should come back in and that the squad's in good shape.
The lad's got it done anyway, so which is great. We've got a bit of a week off now and a double chance, which is huge. And I think the boys are in some pretty good form at the minute. 2 home finals is great. We've got Geelong on a Thursday night, which is massive. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, it should be a ripper, but they are going to be without defender Kane Farrell for the rest of the season because of a hamstring injury. Meantime, Carlton's Matt Owies and Melbourne's Cozzy Pickett have both failed to overturn suspensions at the tribunal. It means Owies will miss the Blues' elimination final against Brisbane. Let's go to tennis. Aussie Alex de Minaur is through to the second round of the US Open following a hard-fought 4-set win against American Marcus Giron. The Aussie had to work for just over 3.5 hours before advancing.
Game, set a match. De Minaur, 4 sets to 1.
Well, it may not be the prettiest match that this man has ever played. And his team, I think, will sigh a breath of huge relief.
Audio there thanks to 9. Earlier, Thanasi Kokkinakis had a stunning 4-set win against Stefanos Tsitsipas, who's the 11th seed, while there were also wins for other Aussies, Jordan Thompson and Tristan Schoolkate. And Max Purcell has just won his all-Aussie affair against Alexander Vukic in straight sets. Unfortunately, though, it wasn't a great morning for Australia's women, with Daria Saville, Taylor Preston, Arina Rodionova and Destiny Iava all losing. And in some soccer to finish, Adelaide United's made it through to the quarter-finals of the Australia Cup competition following a 3-2 win against WA side Olympic Kingsway. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Aged 45 to 49, search Australian Government free bowel screening kit and order yours today.
At Bolivar, car v truck, Port Wakefield Road near Bolivar Road. Port Adelaide, twisted traffic light getting fixed from nearly a crash. Frederick Road near Old Port Road. And Brooklyn Park reports of a smash in Marion Road near Richmond Road. Slow for works at Goodwood Road near Railway Terrace with a camera this morning. Days Road at Croydon Park. A massive $849 million could be yours with the USA Mega Lotto. Hurry, draw closes in less than an hour. Grab your tickets now at lotteryoffice.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
17 with showers easing today, partly cloudy and 23 tomorrow. Showers windy and back down to 18 on Friday. Right now it's 15 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across My24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes to 9. If you are on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, you already know we've got a very special guest in the studio.
And they could never tear us apart.
David Kosh on 5AA Breakfast.
Compare the market economic director, but I got to say, Koshy, what you finish in the top 2, get a home final, and suddenly you're available in the studio? It's all a little convenient, isn't it?
I'm flying back from Perth. I've got a SATC board meeting today. I've got a port board meeting.
Okay. And you've organised all of them purely with a view to come into the studio to really rub our faces in it.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I don't know if you heard, I was just saying before the 8:30 news, mate, that if this interview had happened face-to-face last week, we might have needed a couple of security guards.
No, it was good. I reckon it's terrific. We disagree, and
yeah, completely.
And I'm here to keep you two Crows guys in line. It's as simple as that.
So when is the first meeting about the new spirit of decorum and love between Port and the Crows happening? You know?
No, John and I do work a lot together. And we've got a big agenda, particularly in the case of the sample.
So it's going to be the Kumbaya round next year, the first showdown, is it?
No, we'll be giving each other sort of, once you cross the white line, you get the right white line fever, but the other side of it, we'll all be very polite.
You mentioned the SANFL. When you pick up the red phone in the Port Adelaide Oval office and speak to John Olsen on the other end, are you guys satisfied with the SANFL's new approach, the new love-in that seems to be happening, where they
love-in?
Well, they want you guys in the SANFL.
Can I just say, really happy to be talking about Port and the SANFL.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll enjoy that, but it means the SANFL have got what they wanted. They wanted Port to be last. They rigged the rules, and we can't wait to be out.
But have they made concessions to you behind closed doors?
Oh, it's all lip service.
So nothing concrete yet.
No, not a thing. And given their track record, you want to see it in writing and signed before you believe anything that comes out of their mouth, basically.
Right.
And they've said to the AFL, we're not going to change the rules until you agree to give us our funding from the AFL. That's like going to the bank and saying, we're not going to discuss the terms until you give us the money. Because the AFL is the SANFL's bank.
Sounds like a negotiation with a lot to run to this point in time.
Yeah.
Just wanted to grab you on that.
I just want to know where the West Lakes Future Fund went.
Where do you think it went?
I don't know.
What are you suggesting?
I don't know. SANFL clubs should be rolling in money.
Some of them are, because they're really well run, like Sturt.
Yes. Well, that's right.
They are.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And your performance is a reflection of that.
It's been good.
It's really
good.
well
And
run
recruitment
club.
as well. That's a big part of it. Hey,
Really
Kochie,
well
can I
run
ask you about the importance of holding your nerve in public life? Because you're in public life.
Yep.
10 weeks ago,
Yep.
this would have been the world's most uncomfortable interview, because it would have been in the back of the Brisbane loss. And now here you are.
We did have this conversation.
We did actually, didn't we? And it was one of our occasional frosty ones from memory.
Yeah. No, which it should have been.
Yeah. But what a turnaround.
Look, one thing I've learnt with footy clubs is you just got to deal with facts, and you got to keep the emotion and the politics out of football clubs. And that's my job to do it. That's what a board's job is. And a president's job is you've got to keep stable. And you've got to stick together. And back yourself. So you don't sack coaches halfway through a year. That's not a reflection of a good club, a good culture, I don't think. I've always used Geelong and Sydney as our blueprint on how you should run a proper professional football organisation. And you don't see them making those decisions at all. Over decades, they've been so well run. So you've got to... Stability is the key. And getting the right people in the right jobs and believing that they're there.
Interesting you mentioned those two. I think that the data point has just been going around on social media that in the modern 18-team era, they're the two sides that made the finals the most.
You never hear the word rebuild from them. Either. They never rebuild. They just continually evolve. Rebuild, the term rebuild is an excuse for failure. Oh, we're too young, or, be patient, all that sort of stuff. Baloney. You should be competitive every year. That's what you've got to shoot for.
Ask you about Thursday night footy in the first final, because we came in, David and I both love Thursday night footy, so we were excited. The marquee match-up, you under lights, the first final is the best build-up. But a lot of our listeners, we had a lot of Port fans who text us going, well, we actually hate Thursday night footy. How does the club feel about that, being put in that spot?
It depends on what sort of member you are. If you remember with little kids... It is bad because it's a school night and all that sort of stuff.
Or if you live in Port Pirie or something like that.
Exactly right. And you've got to work the next day. My grandkids were coming across for it. Now they can't because they've got school the next day in Sydney and Perth. So it does muck a lot of people around, but it's a great spectacle we're just happy to be playing finals, and we'll play any time. But yesterday's ticket sales, I think there's only 700 left.
Seriously?
Phenomenal.
Well, not surprising.
We thought, and it's an AFL game, so they sell all the tickets, but we thought it'd take next week. But it's basically all sold out now. Don't forget, we've got the AFLW showdown this Saturday night as well, which is going to be a cracking weekend as well. So, yeah, there's a bit of excitement around.
How worried are you about the absence of Houston and Farrell?
Look, they play an enormous part of the team, but I think that what we've got this year is a fair bit of depth. Tyson Goldsacker, who's the line coach for the back line, has just done a sensational job this year. Ryan Burton played well on the weekend, similar sort of player. Remember, Darcy Byrne-Jones used to play that position and has been switched forward this year. Josh Sin was, I think, a first-round draft pick 4 or 5 years ago. He's had a terrible run of injuries. He's in a really good spot and an elite kick to launch off of a halfback. So we're pretty confident.
With your other cap on, in the world of markets and investment, there's a saying about past performance not being indicative of future results.
Yep.
Is that the sales pitch for finals this year? Do you feel like
No.
Do you feel burdened at all by the recent history?
No. And I think Ken's been fantastic in the way that he's cope with it, and it is annoying to be reminded of it, but it's a fact. So you can't be annoyed with it. You just literally, and I know it's trotted out every time, but you just take one game at a time, and that's all we're focusing on. We're not changing any routines for it next week. We just stick steady, stable as we go through.
I want to ask you one finance economics question as well. We got monthly CPI data today, which is going to create 10,000 headlines. You're going to hear 50 million economists talk about what it means for rates.
Yep.
The RBA, as I understand, doesn't even look at monthly CPI data at all.
No, particularly the first month.
Right.
First month of a quarter.
Right.
Because you get no services inflation. It's mainly all just goods.
Yep. That said, punditry land's going to be very excited about it. So what are you going to be looking for?
Look at it. It might be slightly down on the previous quarter or the previous months. But remember, this is the July figure. So all the government concessions and grants and energy relief that the different states put on all came in July. So it's going to be skewed. The Reserve Bank's not going to be fooled by that. They're going to see right through it. And, I think the minutes of the last Reserve Bank board meeting were pretty clear, saying, hey, we're not going to cut interest rates until well into next year, which is what we've been saying here for months.
Yep.
So what you see is what you get. The big thing is try and engineer your own interest rate cut. Ask for a discount from your bank. Go and check that you're getting the right deal. Some banks are cutting fixed rate home loans at the moment. Last week, a number of them cut that. So they're anticipating an interest rate cut into the future, because that's when they start cutting fixed rates. That means they're thinking 6, 9, 12 months' time.
They've also been cutting rates for term deposits and so forth as well.
I know.
Is there? You're not one to be a bank basher typically, but is that bad behaviour?
That's how they make their margin. Don't forget. So it's what they pay you as a saver and the difference to what they charge on a loan going forward. So again, the big thing is shop around, because there are some term deposits that are still right up there in the high 4s and high 4%, 5% sometimes.
Well, Dave, as part of your new commitment to actually, rubbing our faces in person, I'm sure we'll be seeing you here in the studio at 8:30 Friday week.
No.
We're all in on you guys. We reckon you're going to flog John
after the AFLW showdown.
Okay.
Don't forget.
All right, we'll do that too.
Will we see you at Alberton on Saturday night? We've got new stands. that we're putting
I
around.
actually love Alberton.
Yeah.
I go down the Scotty Hodges end.
All right, you want to come?
Actually, I don't think I can. I've got a genuine family reason why.
Yeah,
Game's going to be called on 5AA, actually, so
Father's
for anyone who
Day
can't get
thing.
along, so you better hear the AFLW showdown. It'll be
we've
great.
got gin marquees, and it's going to have a bit of an Oakbank feel to it.
La-di-da.
Yeah.
Sounds more like a Crows function. On the gin bar. Just put on a big trough full of West End for your people.
Lots of Chardonnay.
No, don't call us names. We'll get upset.
This is a sledge-free zone now, Koshy. It's only
We've got to be that's no fun.
Obviously, something really bad. All the best, mate. We probably will see you in town because you got the 2 home games guaranteed anyway. Whatever happens.
So it should be good. Be a good month.
Good on you coming in.
All right, guys.
Cheers.
All right, let's check traffic. Say no to the nursing home. Choose Alpha Support at home.
Thanks, Will. At Brooklyn Park, reports of a smash there. Marion Road near Richmond Road with delays. At Bolivar, Carvey Truck, Port Wakefield Road near Bolivar Road. Another 2-car collision. This one's at Port Noarlunga, Dyson Road in the Goldsmith Road roundabouts. And we're getting a twisted traffic light fix at the moment at Port Adelaide, Frederick Road near Old Port Road. Camera 2 this morning, Addison Road at Pennington. Is your car overdue for a checkup? For just $28, Petters offers a brakes, steering and suspension check. Book your appointment online at petters.com.au today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Coming up on 5AA Mornings, how difficult is it for a local company to bring in a worker from overseas after they've tried to find workers in the country? We'll speak with a local company that has lined up a worker currently in New Zealand who has sold everything ready to come to Australia, just waiting for union approval. You won't believe what you hear. And the story of a man's desperate fight for life, his search for funding to travel overseas for a vital operation. They're 2 of the stories coming up on 5AA Mornings. We've got more show tickets to give away as well on Royal Show Trivia. I'm Matthew Pantelis. Look forward to your company between 9 and 12.
Transform your outdoor space and turn it into a great year-round entertainment area with an opening and closing roof from Louver House. A Louver House roof will let in the perfect combination of airflow and sunlight, so you can entertain no matter the weather. Best of all, they're manufactured right here in SA with rain sensors and options like LED lighting. Find out more with a free design measure and quote. See the light with Louver House. louverhouse.com.au.
Suzuki is celebrating 40 years of Swift with an all-new Suzuki Swift Hybrid. So, book a test drive today in Australia's best value hybrid, the all-new Suzuki Swift Hybrid, for fun's sake.
Now, home maintenance can be exhausting. You need to know a plumber, electrician, a handyman and a renovator, or you could swap all these numbers for just one. Precise Plumbing and Electrical.
From plumbing and electrical work to pipe relining, bathroom renovations and handyman services, they're your one-stop solution with 25 years worth of happy customers.
And look, they'll service all areas of Adelaide and be there on time every time with an expert in your field of need, ready to do top-notch work. In fact, they're so confident in their expertise, their workmanship comes with a lifetime warranty.
With free quotes and upfront fixed pricing, Precise Plumbing and Electrical is a name you can trust and the only name you need to remember. Visit preciseservices.com.au.
You could be a millionaire next week. The countdown is on. You have just 2 days to get your early bird tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery for your chance to win $1 million. Plus, your tickets stay in the drawers to win luxury cars, worldwide holidays, and the Scott Salisbury Grand Prize home at Glenelg East. Life-changing prizes, life-changing impact. HomeLottery.com.au. Licence M14585.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across My 24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 minutes to 9, still time for your rumours. If you want to walk away with a Smeg appliance, thanks to the wonderful Smeg showroom at Deputy Distributors. Taste the difference with Smeg. 8223 0000 is the number. Something else to keep an eye or an ear out for this afternoon is the 5AA Interactive Lounge. Tomorrow afternoon with Stacey Lee and My Mind Matters Therapy, who'll be discussing new apps enhancing communication, memory skills, and helping impaired and non-verbal people communicate.
We had a lot of nice messages about our long Breaking at 8 spot that we did today with Bruce Bilson, the former Small Business Minister, now Small Business Commissioner, saying that he was it was a good combination of information, but also some light-hearted
He's a
banter
showman,
humour.
isn't he?
Yeah. There's not enough people in public life like that. He can actually crack a few jokes.
Yeah.
And,
No, we should get him on again. Small business is something we passionately
we
talk
covered
about.
a lot of ground. I didn't know about that 3G stuff. Not to the extent that he was explaining.
Well, it hasn't been talked about in terms of how it'll impact small business, like more in terms of how it'll affect people out in regional areas.
That tap and go thing too.
Oh, it's criminal.
Such a rort.
James has called into the show on 8223 Morning to you, James.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, I thought I'd give you a bit of a buzz. There's the Bush Summit today, the advertisers holding in McLaren Vale, and I was lucky enough to attend the one on Monday in Melbourne. And I understand Gina Reinhart's speaking today at the one in the McLaren Vale, and she spoke on Monday as well and made some really good points that I think the government should consider around cutting the petrol tax, which is a huge tax on regional and rural people as well as families, cutting red tape, cutting tax, which should be easy things for the government to do. It doesn't cost them any money to cut red tape, but it makes farmers and people in regional areas' lives easier. And some good comments around improving our defence infrastructure for Australia and repurposing some of the people in the Defence Department into more frontline combat training roles. So I think she's made a number of good comments. I'll be interested to hear what she has to say today in Adelaide, which I think are really, really important for Australia.
Yeah, it'd be fascinating, James. And I wonder how much of the message is tailored state to state. Will it be similar, or will it be things specific to South Australia? Certainly the defence element is something that we're particularly interested in here at the moment, given all the money that's being spent here. But yeah, that'll be something that'll makes news, no doubt, a little bit later today.
Yeah, it's good that they're doing those things, because too often the bush gets forgotten.
Let's talk about some of the other things that are going on. The Prime Minister has just gotten off a plane in Tonga and spoke to Sky News.
It's fantastic to be here in Tonga. The Pacific Island Forum is such an important gathering. We're part of the Pacific family, and over the next couple of days we'll be talking about our common interests, how we work together to combat climate change, for economic development and for peace and security in our region.
It's doubtless an important trip, but it doesn't feel like it's particularly well timed.
Well, the problem is that in his defence, if Albo's not going, the Chinese government will definitely be
we can't
going.
afford not to be at these things.
Yeah, and we've seen with the security deals that, was it Samoa? Or the Solomon Islands. Solomon Islands. You know, where suddenly they go, we'll let China run our police force. You know, give them a huge paramilitary type security presence in the middle of the Pacific. You know, there's a huge geopolitical sort of impetus for him being there. Yet, meanwhile, back in Australia, looking at the old 24% figure written in my notepad, the deeply unpleasant discovery yesterday with my tax guy about how much the bills have gone up, and everyone's in that same position.
And invariably...
And this is where people go, because when you said the Prime Minister's in Tonga, I could hear a...
Yes.
That was an audible grunt coming from the outer northern and outer southern suburbs of Adelaide of people going, this bloke's priorities are all wrong.
Special shout out this morning to the citizen's arrest making vigilante Michael Voss.
Voss is still pretty quick. Voss is very fit, very quick. I think he's got a very quick sort of 20-30 metre dash. We had to scale a couple of fences and jump over some bins, and it was pretty hectic.
That's a cafe owner talking about how he and Michael Voss took chase to a couple of blokes who'd rolled a car out front of the cafe and then apparently stolen, and then set off and tried to do a runner. Well, that wasn't happening on Voss's watch, and the cafe owner too, who cornered these guys, and they ended up getting arrested. It's just amazing.
Don't pick a fight with a guy who's part of what's probably to this day the greatest AFL side in history.
Yeah, and he probably argued with the best player on that side too.
Oh, what a side they were.
And a wonderfully skilled footballer, one of the hardest, toughest footballers you can ever imagine.
But also one of the fairest.
Yeah, completely. He one was arrested, one's still on the loose apparently. So the one's still out there. Which they'll catch up with if they've got one of them. There's nothing surer. But that was just a remarkable story.
I wonder if his tackle was assessed by the AFL tribunal, whether he would have, been fined, or was it a dangerous tackle?
You reckon high?
Maybe a little
reckless.
bit high.
Well, yeah, maybe there was no. It was like the old days. There was no camera vision of it.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. It was like the '89 grand final.
Thanks to all your texts.
Doing lying on the ground.
On the Dutton's text line, a third-generation family-owned dealership with over 70 years' experience. Dutton's easy to do business with. Stick around. Matt Pantelis is next. We'll catch you tomorrow morning from